Soon we will be live. And now we are. So, hello everyone, and welcome to Adventure on so many levels. We're going to play Ironsworn Starforged.
Yay!
So, this is a continuation of our episode last week where we made some characters and a starting sector in the game Ironsworn Starforged. But we had so much fun that we wanted to continue the adventure a little bit. And so, in pursuing that goal, we had two more players decide they wanted to join, and so they have made their own characters as well. And so we will all be going on this Ironsworn Starforged adventure together. One note related to all of that is that although I am often the dungeon master for our games tonight, I am a player as well, and we are playing co-op mode, which does not have a traditional dungeon master or game master. Instead, we will be collaboratively working together. Collaboratively working together is redundant, and then I had to repeat it also in order to say that it was redundant. We will be making use of various Oracle tables that come with the game to help us work together to decide what happens next in the various game circumstances. But perhaps we should start this time with a brief review of the characters that we made last time and the world that we are operating in. We don't need to take a lot of time doing that. Then we're going to do a quick introduction to our two new players, new player characters that is, and then we will all together envision an inciting incident for our group to use to start the adventure. So, Nobilis. Well, first of all, I'm Christiana Ellis. We didn't do proper introductions yet. Tonight I am playing Firestarter. Everyone want to just go down the line and do your own?
I am Nobilis Reed, and I am playing Ulan Giles Braddock, who is a healer and a lore hunter. And specifically, he's looking for fiction to finish his tropository.
Jason? We don't hear you.
There we go. Is that better?
Yes.
Yes.
So my character's name is Gavin Landry. He is a veteran and kind of a private eye, and he's been augmented to be better at doing said job. But things happened that made him decide that maybe he wasn't so cut out for the investigation and combat of this wild time. But there are things in his past that he does wish to rectify on a much larger scale. And get that done on the inside.
So we will do a more lengthy character introduction in a little bit. So let's just keep the high level introduction for the moment. Not that we decided on that in advance or anything. I'm just suggesting for now. It's Lee.
We'll move it right along.
Yes.
I'm playing Ash Archer, call sign Hellion, and she is a monster hunter.
Great.
I'm David Archambault, and I'm playing Travis Martu, call sign Space Rat. He is a gearhead scavenger, but basically the engineer of the ship.
Very nice. Okay, so what we established in our session 0 is that there are a number of world truths that kind of define the setting that we are operating in. Perhaps we could. What do all of you think? Do you think we want to just read through all of those? It's not that much, and I think it establishes the world for anyone who missed the previous session.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll read them if no one else
That's fine.
would
Okay.
have hurt feelings.
You're good at this. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah. No, we trust you.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, so the truths about our world are that there was a cataclysm in our home galaxy of the Milky Way. A sun plague snuffed out the stars, and we suspect that it was caused by a temporal distortion. And that required us to go on an exodus where experimental FTL drives carried us to a globular cluster galaxy called the Forge. But those experimental FTL drives are considered the source of the sundering, which is a reality fracturing or distorting effect. Now, the various communities that have been formed since we've been in the Forge, there's dangers abound, but there are safety in numbers. Ships and settlements are united under the banner of one of the founder clans, and there are 5 clans overall. And so, generally, there's these 5 different major clans, but there's communities and settlements all over the place. Now, we've been here a while. Now, there is also an enigmatic material that we have called black iron, and this iron is something that has become meaningful in many respects, where people will make vows upon items of black iron, and those are meaningful, and that's what we are all in this game, is Ironsworn, people who swear vows on black iron and then seek to fulfill those vows. Now, laws and governments in these settlements may vary from one place to another, but bounty hunters are given wide latitude. Their authority is universally recognized. Likewise, there are many different faiths. The faiths are as diverse as our people. Now, magic. There is unnatural energies flowing throughout the Forge. Magic and science are 2 sides of the same coin. Now, as far as communication is concerned, we have faster than light travel to get us from one star to another, but we don't have faster than light communication. And so messages and information, in order to travel from one settlement to another, literally has to be carried like a message on a ship. And so that means that communities are isolated unless you can have regular travel in between them. Medicine is, there are the Menders, who are an order of sworn healers who preserve medical knowledge and train new generations. Artificial intelligence, there are vestiges of advanced machine intelligence, but they are coveted and wielded by those in power. There is the few with the ability to pay can call on the Legion, which is a guild of professional soldiers, but the rest are on their own. There is also a lot of life, which was seeded by the Essentia, ancient entities that enact their inscrutable will in the galaxy. And so we often see the signs of them, but don't really understand their abilities or their intentions or their nature really very much. And then there are the Precursors, which is over the eons, a vast number of different civilizations rose and fell within the Forge, and there are many ruins and monuments left behind, and people known as grubs will delve into their mysterious ruins looking for artifacts. But there are also most will insist that horrors like ghosts and undead aren't real, but spacers know the truth. There are people who are dedicated to hunting down those horrors. And so those are all true things about our galaxy. Now, we are also starting in the sector named Hollow Arch, which is named for a nebula formation within this region of the galaxy. The basic locations here in the Hollow Arch sector, we have a large colony called Eventide on a planet of the same name, which is a very hospitable and full of life planet, but it's also notable that it is that way because our research tells us that it was artificially constructed by someone in the past. And not only that, but the star itself artificially constructed as well. And so it has a lot of life in very specific areas on the planet. that is very, a nice place for us to have our settlement, but it's also nice based on the whims of ancient beings that are capable of creating planets. So we don't have a lot of control over that. But there is also there is a lot of archaeological research done in that location because there's a lot of ruins there as well. There is another settlement that is an orbital settlement called Nova that has a culture of learning. There is an orbital settlement called Glimmer, which is basically a lot of people who are devoted to cybernetic augmentation. And then there is a very small deep space location called Lagrange that acts as a sort of seed vault type place. And it is a little bit more difficult to get to by design because it's supposed to be like the Antarctic seed vault. It's supposed to be a place where various preserved seeds or embryos can be stored and out of danger for things that might be destroyed elsewhere. So that's the basic location that we're starting in. The characters that we created last time, we can do. Let's try to keep it to like the 2-sentence version of who they are. So like my character is a young woman of noble birth who has decided to build her own empire in order to piss off her wealthy, powerful parents. She is a hotshot pilot and gunslinger. And then we also have Giles and Space Rat that were created last time.
Yep. Giles is a young man who discovered fiction at a later date than most people do, and was totally enamored with it, and is obsessed with. Well, obsessed is possibly a strong term. Maybe we'll see. With completing his tropository, which is like the tvtropes.org, only on steroids.
And Space Rat, I belonged to one of the Grub family, but he got lost on a scavenging mission, and was told to build a device that might be illegal, depending on how it works.
All right. So the three of us have as a brief backstory, mostly that we met under kind of serendipitous circumstances and decided that our interests aligned enough for us to travel together on the ship that my character owns called the Relentless. But we are currently located on Eventide, where we have met a character named May. Yeah, I'm pulling up my notes here. So, yeah, a character named May Durant, also known as MD Jester, who is someone who acts as a sort of investigator for the Church of the Narrow Path. She is not a faithful believer in that religion, but she owes the church organization her life, and so works for them in investigating possible miracles for them. And we met her on Eventide and formed a connection with her. So now let's briefly introduce, on that same kind of 2-sentence level, our two new characters, and we will figure out together what the inciting incident for the 5 of us will be.
Okay, well, I guess I'll go ahead and start. My character, Ash, is a young woman from Nova whose parents were killed by a monster that got loose on the station. And so she has dedicated her life to being a monster hunter and hopefully hunting down the monster that killed her parents.
Great. And Jason, you kind of did this version already for your character, but you want to go into it one more time?
So Gavin Landry is a veteran, and he's an augmented veteran who has had time with the Legion and does not like how things went in that time period. So he kind of took leave of that group and has now set upon trying to seek change in the world in regards to the Legion, that is.
Great. So the one last thing that I'll have each of us do before we create our inciting incident is each of us has what's known as a background vow, which is sort of the long-term goals of the character that may or may not have anything to do with what we do tonight, but kind of inform the character's priorities over the long term. So, for example, my character's background vow is to amass an empire to rival my family's and prove my dad wrong. Let's just go left.
Mine is to complete the repository.
Deadeye.
Deadeye? Jason?
Let's see. So, that's right. I have it actually wrote it down last night just before we. Gavin's is to see and edify change in the ranks, order, and ethics of the Legion.
Great. Hellion.
And I kind of already said mine, which is to kill the monster that killed my ma and pa. Whether that's the monster or the man depends on the day.
Nice.
Space Rats is build the device of the beyond.
Very nice. Okay, so I think it might be simplest if we imagine that Deadeye and Hellion also know May Durant, just because that kind of gives us a common point where we might all meet each other that way. So that's just a suggestion that, but the first thing that we need to do as far as envisioning an inciting incident is determine like what is it that would lead all of us to together swear a vow to complete some task. And some of the ideas that or the concepts that they suggest are that we want to make it personal. Why is it so important to us? And potentially how it would connect to our background skills and motivations. Probably we can't make it equally personal to everybody, but it should be personal, at least on some level, to everybody. And even if that's only that you care about it being personal to one of your friends or something like that. But then also it needs to be a problem that won't go away on its own. It needs to be a ticking clock in the sense that like we can't just hang out and discuss it forever. We need to go do something about it. Up the stakes. We want it to be important. And limit the scope, meaning, you know, that's why it's not going to be any of our background vows, because those are all things that would take years or even decades to do possibly. Instead, it might be something along the lines of investigate this crashed ship, or hey, someone found a vault, let's go explore it. You know, so a defined scope. So on that basis, there is a table of things that they that you know, possible ideas that we could roll on. Or if anyone just has ideas. I think that certainly investigating a derelict ship or a crashed ship or a vault of some kind certainly seem like fun approaches to do, but we don't have to do anything like that. Does anyone have a thought of something they're really leaning towards, or do we want to try rolling on the table?
Well, all of those ideas, investigating stuff, would be perfect for Space Rat. Because he matches up with his background and possibly his background vow.
Yeah, I think we'd want to tie it in with May and the things that she is concerned with, considering that she's our contact there. Maybe in the course of investigating a possible miracle. She's come across someone who's in trouble, but that needs help, and but she's not. She's got other things going on, and kind of drops in our lap.
Okay.
Yeah.
It could be something along the lines of, uh, still tying into like maybe exploring a crashed ship or something, but maybe it's a ship that she was waiting for a message or a communication or a person on a certain ship, and then that ship has gotten lost. Like
Yeah.
it never
Yeah,
arrived
that
when
sounds
it
like
should
a
have.
good.
Yes, I
Yeah.
like that idea.
Yeah, I like
Okay.
that a lot.
So, what do we think? What do we think was who is she waiting for, or what on this ship that has gone missing?
Perhaps it's one of the people that is involved with May's debt. Yeah.
Or
Church.
maybe it's an agent of the church that brought in some kind of artifact that they believe might be a holy artifact, and she wants to A, make sure that the person is okay, and B, make sure that the artifact is secured.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, that I like that. So maybe it was someone found something of interest, and they were supposed to be bringing it to her to investigate.
Right. Yes, good
And
idea.
and maybe she really doesn't know any more than that,
Right.
because we don't get communication really, like, because she might have gotten very early word from a previous ship that there's going to be another ship leaving later that's going to have this guy on it.
Yeah.
Can I put in a thing put an idea for communication?
Okay.
Like basically, there are regular scheduled, basically, pros. Unmanned vessels that just go and deliver messages back and forth between.
So
sectors
we
and
could do that, but we
stars.
also established already that there's the heralds that are kind of like, the Galactic Pony Express. So that's kind of what they do
I forgot
already.
about that. Okay.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not a bad idea, but like there is already an organization that's devoted to kind of maintaining regular lines of communication.
Okay.
Also, one of the notable the things that we didn't really talk about in session 0 is that the drives that we use to just get around within this galaxy are fairly like they can only run for a few hours at a time, and they require a regular like maintenance, and like you can run them for a short period of time, then you have to stop for a while and everything. So it's probably they're expensive and powerful enough that you probably wouldn't want to have just 1,000 probes with them out there unattended. But oh, sorry, go ahead, Jason.
I was going to say, what we could say is that because the heralds exist, they have known routes and stopping points.
Right.
And maybe there was a relay of communication at certain spots along this route, and May became concerned when there wasn't one from when they were expected.
Okay, yeah.
If they like, kind of like with Wild West days when like a train would stop at a place and deliver mail, expect it to get there, but it just so happened that it didn't this time, and maybe the ship itself just didn't show up at this regulated stop.
Yeah, so that makes sense. So like maybe on a previous Herald ship, May had received a message to say that this person that she either do we think she knows them personally? I mean, it makes it more personal if she does, right?
Yeah, sure.
But someone was
Yeah.
working at some kind of an archaeological site, maybe, and that they were. So the Herald message, which came by ahead of time, was to say that they were still finishing up what they were doing there on the site, but that they were planning to bring in an interesting artifact to her on Eventide on the next travel window, which now we know May is telling us that window has elapsed. He should have been here by now, and she gave a little extra time to sort of account for that
Vagaries of travel.
Yeah. So I noticed that you rolled on some names and roles, and I think
Mhm.
Cole Savela is a fine name, but also the role being cultist is kind of fun if we imagine that this is someone who's involved with this church.
Right, that's exactly what I was thinking. And
Mhm.
and since it's cultist rather than like priest or devotant or
Yeah.
something like that, that this person is possibly a little bit unhinged by what they've
Yeah.
experienced with
So
this device they've gotten.
so someone who like maybe someone who devotes their labors to the church but isn't officially part of the church organization because
Mhm.
the actual people in charge sort of feel like we need to be able to distance ourselves from this person if necessary. So
Yes.
they can provide stuff to us, but they don't officially work for us.
Yes.
They're
So let's take off and try to find this ship. Shall we say that it was lost somewhere along, or rather, it was expected to come along the route into Eventide from outside the sector?
Oh, so here's a thought for how it we would have information that it was somewhere on the way, right? Part of the way that the travel works here when we use our Eidolon drives is that there are basically places where they do and don't work. And you can generally, in theory, travel between anywhere, but it's not a straightforward straight line. You have to like stop every few hours, and you can only stop at certain types of locations where there's gravity wells and so on like that. So that's why when we see on our sector map here the red lines, those are where there's charted paths. And so that means that if you're traveling between these places, there's already charts and navigation for here's where you can stop and here's where it's all safe and you can go through those places relatively easily. It is more dangerous and more difficult to travel places where that is not true. And so, but because there's these waypoints that you have to stop at for a while, to like recharge your Eidolon drive, perhaps that's where Cole's ship passed on this message to the heralds. They were there at the same time, and the heralds were ready to go faster. And so they said, "Oh, how fortuitous that a herald's ship would be here. We'll tell them to tell May that we're coming." To give her advance word. And then that way their last sight wouldn't have necessarily been that far away. They would have been closer.
Right, someplace closer.
Yeah.
So why don't we add a location to the map here?
Okay.
Um, that is the last known location of of Cole's ship.
Sure, sure. Okay, great. So that would mean that when we depart for there, to begin with, at least, we would be piloting a charted course as opposed to unknown space.
Right.
But then when we arrive at that waypoint, we would potentially have more to explore from there. But so I like this because it's personal in the sense that May knows them and we know May, so that helps. Okay, you're going for naming the ship.
Yep.
All right, the Buccaneer.
Yep.
That's not a bad name. It's certainly one of those names
Flavorful.
where, yeah, like it might be one of those names that the church is like, really, that kind of evokes the wrong image, but all right. But so certainly it's a problem that won't go away on its own because if this guy is missing, I mean, theoretically he could show up, but we suspect at this point that it's something has happened or he would be here already.
Right.
And then it has a ticking clock because certainly if something bad happened, it might be that he's in danger and waiting or stranded somewhere. How do we up the stakes?
Well, the object that he's carrying is unstable in some way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so
Uh,
maybe that's why the ship was having to travel a little bit slower, but we don't know more than that. He just says, like, that's why they had to send the heralds ahead, is like, we're having to travel slower because this thing that I've found is
It's messing
destabilized
with the
by,
drive.
yeah.
Maybe it's messing with the drive or the energy, the energy recovery rate.
Okay.
or
Yeah.
something like that.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Or we don't know exactly why.
Mhm.
Just that it's interfering with their travel
Okay.
somewhere. And
So,
maybe the message we got was kind of cryptic.
so what the last thing we need to do then before we would be, beginning our adventure is we need to envision the scene where we swear the Iron Vow. Now, the way this is going to work when we play it as a group is that only one of us is going to actually. Well, in fact, actually, I take that back because the way we would normally do it as a group vow is only one person actually makes the move. But
Okay.
and we choose who that would be. But we all have the vow. We will depict the fiction as though we're all making the vow, but only one person actually rolls
Tracks
the
it.
dice. And that way, we don't end up with one person who has a strong hit and someone else who has a miss. When how would that make sense?
Right.
But because of the inciting incident, it we don't. I think. Oh no, I take it back because what I was going to say is that the first connection we made assumes that we made a connection with a strong hit. But I think our first swear an iron vow move, we don't assume anything. We do go ahead and
Yeah.
make the roll.
Right. And I would like to point out that if I swear an iron vow to recover variable knowledge or a powerful relic,
Mm-hmm.
re-roll any dice. So I
Yeah.
think I should be the one to roll this.
Well, and it makes sense for that reason. On top of that, because swearing an iron vow as a move is a plus heart roll, and
Right.
it kind of works out in a fun way that between the five of us, we each placed our highest score in a different roll. So my highest
Cool.
score is in edge. Giles's
Wait.
highest score is in heart. It's shadow for Deadeye, iron for Hellion, and wits for Space Rat. So
That's awesome. We're all covered.
yeah. In fact, actually, if I switched the place for a Deadeye and Hellion, it would even be in the same order. But I'm not going to bother doing that. But all the more reason then that it makes the most sense for Giles to do the roll here.
Okay.
So this is swearing an iron vow, which is rolling plus heart, and then you have your special
Right.
bonuses based on your lore hunter path.
Okay.
So for the fiction, like envisioning how it happens, I imagine
yes.
that basically we were all called to May's office, and basically it's like windowless, dingy room.
Because
no
Giles
some-
isn't there much. You're almost always out in the field. So this is just
Yeah.
kind of a home base section.
Yeah.
Or like a conference room in the temple.
Yeah.
With
And
what is the iconography of the Temple of the Narrow Path? What's their
I feel like
what's their symbol?
I was thinking that it would be like a broad base with a lot of lines that converge up to like one really narrow tower or something. Like a lot of paths converging into one.
And at the top, balanced with arms outstretched to indicate that they could fall either way. An androgynous human figure.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
almost like they're on a tightrope.
Okay, sure. I like the idea that this path actually is vertical, which means that the person walking it is actually like walking this vertical. So like they're horizontal, like walking upwards.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Yeah. They're kind of projecting out from it or on the side of it or something. Yeah.
So we've got this office.
And I imagine Space Rat's just like kind of standing in a corner with some basically data pad. It's like, eyeing everyone he doesn't know,
Mhm.
or the two he doesn't know, warily. It's like I'm just typing on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I like the idea that, we after making our connection with her had made it clear, we're looking for work. We're interested in paying jobs.
Hmm.
But I think maybe in this case, because our initial little crew here didn't have a whole lot of firepower. Like, I'm good with my sidearm, but that's really mostly all we've got in terms of fighting.
Right.
And so she suggests that, because this might be a potentially dangerous, she had a couple of other contacts of people who are a little bit more
Yeah.
experienced with combat. And that's
Yep.
maybe how we meet Deadeye and Hellion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right, great. So we're given the details. We're looking for Cole Savela and the Buccaneer. Last seen at a waypoint on the path out to the next sector over.
Hmm.
All right, great. So
All right. I'll roll it. Okay,
Okay.
that is a weak hit. I am going to re-roll the 9
Mm-hmm.
challenge die. Because if I can get below a 4,
Mm-hmm.
that'll be a strong hit.
Yeah.
And I think it's a fairly good chance of that. I don't want to, but no, I'm going to re-roll the action score as well because I rolled a 1 on that.
Yeah.
So first I'm going to re-roll the, oh well.
Okay.
Well, it
Still a
doesn't
weak
matter.
hit.
Yeah. So it's good. So if you
Right. So
well,
it still becomes a weak hit.
it almost wasn't any point in re-rolling the action score
Yeah,
after
because I
getting a
wasn't
10.
gonna
Yeah.
get lower
But
than a 2. So
but for Swear an Iron Vow, on a weak hit, we are determined, but we begin our quest with more questions than answers. You take, Giles, you take plus one momentum. We
okay.
do not all take plus one momentum because you made the move. So we all
Right.
benefit in the fiction from the roll, the result, but we don't all take the mechanical benefit.
Okay.
I am adding the vow then. Find Cole Savela
And the Buccaneer, recover the artifact
and
if possible.
and recover the artifact he was carrying on the Buccaneer.
Okay, so we should all do this. One thing we didn't really talk about here. Um, find what difficulty do we want to make it?
Um.
I don't think anything about dangerous.
Yeah, I was thinking dangerous.
Yeah, let's make it dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing that I'm not 100% sure about in this game is that I've played this a lot solo mode, and I'm not 100% sure how having a big party affects the difficulty, but I guess we'll find out.
Well,
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we're making it dangerous, which means that when we mark progress on this vow, we will be marking 2 full boxes of progress every time we get a move that allows us to make progress. So I think unless we we don't have any particular reason we need to mess around more here on Eventide, might as well just go ahead and get ready to head on out. And so in this
Undertaking?
case, there's Undertaken Expedition, but because we're starting on a path, there's when you follow a known route through perilous space across hazardous terrain or within a mysterious site, that's set a course.
Oh, okay.
Versus Undertaken Expedition is when you trailblaze a route through perilous space.
Ah, okay. Yes. Well, let's set a course then. And I
Yeah.
believe one of us has a benefit to setting a course.
Yeah, so let me double check I'm the pilot anyway, but yeah, so I'm a pilot, but that gives me bonuses to facing danger or reacting under fire, not
Okay.
to setting a course. I think it does maybe make sense to have me do it as the
Yep.
pilot, but at the same time, Does anyone else
I-
speak up if you have anything that's about set a course?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, so when we roll set a course, we are rolling plus supply, which is our shared, preparedness gear money track. So we're starting off with +5, so that's relatively straightforward. So,
And you can roll supply just by clicking supply, right?
well, we can, but I was trying to click the move, and it seems like it's not working for me here. Let me. You know what? Let me try this. I popped out my character sheet as a little separate window, and it seemed like it was not doing the rolls. So let me try that again. There we go.
And when you're looking at the just a list of moves, like not the one that gives details, there's a little D20. Like,
Yeah, well, yeah. So I know, but I wanted to be able to read the rules though.
okay.
So we got, as an action score, we rolled a 1 on the action die to get us +5 for 6, and the 2 challenge dice were 9 and 1. So that was not the best result to start with, but it could have been worse. So we got a weak hit, and that means that on a weak hit we arrive but face a cost or a complication. Choose one, and we either suffer costs en route. We would have to make a suffer move -2 or 2 suffer moves -1, or we face a complication at the destination. Envision what you encounter. And
I like the complication.
Complication.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. And so perhaps unless anyone has an idea right off the bat, one of the things that we could roll is that we have an oracle for spaceborne peril.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
All right, so I'll roll spaceborne peril. Gravity well or vortex takes hold.
Boy.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
Oh
Great.
well, no wonder the ship is in trouble.
Yeah. Well, certainly it's an unexpected thing, and in fact, that's a very dangerous thing to say. Like, how this is supposed to be a charted path. How did we arrive? I guess we could ask the question: is this happening because we did something wrong, or because the chart has changed somehow?
I think that this we arrived, started looking around for the ship, and just as we started to pick up some sensor readings that indicated, oh, it's just off it's like on the metaphorical shoulder. We start being pulled in by this mysterious vortex.
Right.
And it's the same one that's got the Buccaneer.
Okay. So what I'm suggesting here is that, you think that we're already at
Yeah,
the Buccaneers
we found it, and now we're falling victim to the same influence that got the Buccaneer.
Okay. Okay.
Best not to
that's
branch
just happening
things
a little
too
faster
much.
than that. Well, sure. But I was assuming that this was just a obstacle on our path, as opposed to, well, it's fine. I think that works just fine. But so let's say, I'm making a progress bar for gravity well, because my assumption here is that this is something we have to escape from the gravity
Yes.
well, right?
Yeah, well, escape and I think more complicated than that. We need to get to the Buccaneer, get our things, and then escape from the gravity well, because it's already in it. It's already in this
Okay.
mysterious vortex.
All right. Maybe you're envisioning a different kind of vortex than I was. I was assuming that this was some sort of like a mini black hole or something, and it was mostly just we have to hurry up and navigate far enough away from it that it's not after us anymore. But like, what is, so if the Buccaneer is several days behind, like how, and this is why would they?
I'm thinking something more complicated than just a gravity well. I mean, it's a mysterious reality vortex
Well,
effect.
Here's what I was initially envisioning, and I mean, obviously, we can all discuss this. And in fact, one of the great tools that we have in this game is we can use, custom oracles, essentially, like where we can envision a couple of different options and then do a roll to have it tell us which one it is, right?
Okay.
But
Alright.
what I was initially envisioning with this peril result is that it was so all of these waypoints on these paths have to be at a gravity well,
Right.
like at a planet in space or something big enough it creates kind of an anchor for the drive.
Right.
Right.
And so
A brown
my
dwarf, a rogue planet.
yeah, so but my thinking was that the charted path, the whole point of that is that you essentially get the coordinates that take you to a safe location nearby. But somehow when we came out, we were too close and now had to do
Okay.
some fancy piloting to get away from it and back to safety. And so that introduces a mystery of like what, that's why I was saying, like, did we do it wrong, or is somehow the coordinates didn't match what we found? That's what I was originally thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we could
And-
also make it like there is some completely anomalous great big vortex thing, and the Buccaneer is getting slowly sucked into it. But my only thinking there was just that, like, what's the time scale here? Because if they've already been in it for a couple of days, then what's the time pressure?
Okay.
Yeah.
My thought is, it's been there a couple days because something happened when it hit the gravity well that broke something. So like they're not being sucked into it, but they're also not able to get away from the area overall.
Okay, like they somehow managed to end up in an orbit of it that's decaying,
Yeah.
but they can't get
Yeah.
out.
Right.
Okay.
Like there was a Larry Niven story that had basically a ship's hyperdrive got eaten by something. At least that's what it seemed like. And basically it was the hyperdrive hit a miniature black hole and just went out into who knows where while the ship stayed there. That kind of thing.
Okay.
So or they hit the gravity well at the wrong angle or something, and it broke their Eidolon drive.
But okay. So here's the decision we still have to make. When we say gravity well, do we mean the gravity well that would normally be part of this charted path and this waypoint, or do we mean something else?
Why don't we roll it?
Okay. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
And since the something else is something weird, let's give it a smaller chance and
Okay.
roll it.
So we've got a likely oracle where, let's say, we think it's more likely that the gravity well we're talking about is the one that's part of this charted path.
Right.
And then the unlikely result is that it would be something more unusual. Right.
Yes.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
let's see. So I rolled it, and it's a likely yes. So that sounds
Okay.
like it is the charted course thing. But it could well be still that there's something like why do the coordinates that are supposed to be at a safe location, why are those not matching? Like, why did those actually take us to some place that's too close?
I think that could be the actual relic itself.
Yeah.
Seeing as there's a lot of things out in space that we don't see, right? There's random bits of ice, rock, trash, debris, whatever. Let's say they hit some of this as they approach this normal position, right? Like
Okay.
whether it's a planet or whatever. And they ended up hitting, let's say, some normal debris. They just happened to flub it. It's kind of like a ship coming in too close to shore and hitting a coral reef or something of that nature. And it jostled the relic.
Okay.
And
yeah.
the relic just so happened to cause an anomaly of sorts, whether it
Okay,
be
sure.
some sort of microburst of
Well,
gravity.
I love that, and I'm definitely on board with that idea. My only pause is that I think our characters would probably just not know that yet. But
Yeah.
what we can say that we can determine is that something has affected the way the charted path is working around this waypoint, such that the normal coordinates bring you too close to the gravity well. So here's the question: are we in immediate danger as a result, or is this just this is a time pressure of the Buccaneer is in a decaying orbit, and that puts a clock on what we're doing?
I think we should be in danger. That you know that can
Okay.
open up some interesting possibilities.
Okay. So perhaps then maybe we can. How about this? How about this? I will create a little progress track that's just troublesome, which is the easiest one, which is our initial attempt to say, whoa, holy cow, what's going on here? Get us to where we're okay.
Right.
And then from there, we'll deal with the obstacle of we have to be able to approach the Buccaneer in its current orbit and dock with it and whatever else we need to do. But so this, we're going to treat this gravity well like like an enemy, kind of. So I think one of the things that, one move that I have as a result of my ace path is when you face danger or react under fire by guiding your vehicle through a hazard or out of harm's way, you add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. So maybe it makes sense for that to be the first move, but then we can see who else can try to think of something that your character would contribute to help us get the rest of the way. Does that sound right?
Sure. Let's do that.
All right, so we've got face danger, which is when you attempt something risky or react to an imminent threat. And I'm doing it with edge because that's, my best skill, and it kind of applies to the fancy piloting. And I'm adding a +1 modifier based on my ace path. All right, look at that. So action score ended up being 9 against a 4 and a 2, so that's a strong hit. So on a strong hit, you are successful, take +1 momentum. In this context, though, what that is going to mean, hang on. I see what was happening, never mind. I've got a bunch of little things on the window there. Okay, so that means we're going to mark progress against this challenge. So I'm going to fill 3 boxes of the gravity well progress bar.
If you hit mark on it, it'll actually fill it according to the danger level.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good to know. Thanks. So I've done that, and I'm also taking +2 momentum because normally the strong hit would give me 1, and then my move gives me an additional. So I'm moving my momentum to 4. So now, so I've managed to pull up, and so we don't go straight into this brown dwarf. But now we're so close that, I'm saying it's like, if anyone could give me a little extra power, that wouldn't go unwelcome.
Well, I think that would be great to secure an advantage by trying to get a little bit more power out of the engines.
Right. So when secure an advantage, when you assess a situation, make preparations, or attempt to gain leverage, yeah, I think that is an excellent move to use. So are you, I would imagine using wits, but do you have a move that applies to this?
I don't have anything specific, I don't think.
Okay. But you could still just use wits. That works.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
So,
a weak hit's good.
You got a 9, but one of the challenge die was a 10, which means a weak hit. So for secure an advantage, on a weak hit, you have to choose between taking +2 momentum or adding +1 on the next move, not a progress move. Here's a question. I think as a group, do we want to say that when you get a move that says like add +1 on your next move, does it have to be your next move as a character, or could it be just someone in the party?
No, I think it makes sense to be able to use that to help other people.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah.
But because it's a hit in this context, I think we do count that as marking progress. But you don't also get the momentum. Or you choose between those two things, I guess.
I think I would add +1 to the next move.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think this is a slightly unusual way of using some of these moves because we're not doing the combat mechanics exactly. But
Actually, we are using the rules exactly as they're written.
okay.
But instead of secure an advantage, the move is aid your ally, which you then first you envision
Wow.
what you're doing, and then you roll either secure an advantage or gain ground.
Okay.
So, and if you score a hit,
Well,
instead
the
of you
question just being a weak hit on secure an advantage, does that count as marking progress or no? Because in this context, secure an advantage, like if we were in combat, secure an advantage would not do damage to the enemy, so we would not mark progress. But it does give us the +1 on whoever's doing the next thing to get us there.
Yeah, that's the way this is written. Secure an advantage or gain ground is the way you help someone else, and then they make a move to actually make progress.
So in that context, what might make sense then is that I could do another, essentially face danger piloting move.
Yep,
and take
exactly.
the +1.
Unless someone else has something they'd like to do.
Yeah.
Well, how about you use the benefit of that one, and then we might have another aid and ally.
Well, yeah. So that's a good point. Is that if you all do an aid and ally, then it gives me lots of bonuses and so on. That could be. So what about any of the rest of you have thoughts? It's always a little tricky and this sort of thing.
Ulan mans the sensor station and takes detailed measurements of the gravity field in order to help guide your way.
Great.
So I'm going to roll plus wits.
Right. And one thing, just for anyone watching, one of the sort of push your luck mechanic here is that obviously if an aid your ally move goes well, then it creates a benefit, but it does also create a possibility for additional complications. So that's why there's always a balance. It's not always beneficial to risk it. But
and I got another weak hit.
But a weak hit in this context is not a miss, so there's no pay the price. It's still just choosing one or the other of these.
And
of these
I will also give you the +1.
Great. How about Hellion or Deadeye? Are either of you trying anything here? You don't have to.
I think Hellion is strapped into her chair and just letting the pilot do her thing. She's she's here to shoot stuff.
All right.
If Gavin could, he would get to a position where he could observe where they're trying to fly through, just in case, because of this odd gravity. Well, if there's a lot of debris moving around or being tossed about that's not normally there, I would try to secure an advantage using my augmented eyeballs.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. So we could definitely do that. One other thing that I'll note here is that you can certainly do like a gather information roll as well. Even if you're not contributing to like the active situation, you could be doing that and gaining information that we use later. That's another example of stuff that people could be doing. But I like that, using your augmented eyes to just spot possible hazards.
You have to use your special eyes.
Yeah.
You guys have seen Ghost in the Shell. Just imagine a guy with Bato's eyes.
Yeah. Bato's awesome.
All right. So I think that, so what stat are you thinking for that? Because your best one is Shadow, but I'm not sure that necessarily makes the most sense in this specific.
No, it would definitely be wits.
Okay.
I think, because
makes sense to me.
Yeah, because he's trying to basically assist in her navigation through basically like if this was in water, this would be very choppy.
Right. But
See,
but you're making the roll with your where your augmentation comes into play. So make sure you follow what the instructions say in your augmented path move or card.
you make a move directly aided by your augment. Envision how you give it exceptional abilities and add +1 on a strong hit with a match. Your augment exceeds expectations.
Can you read it into the microphone so everyone else can hear?
I have my two monitors here.
Sure.
Basically, it's when you make a move directly aided by the augment, envision how it gives you exceptional capabilities and add a +1. On a strong hit with a match, your augment exceeds expectations, takes a +2 on your momentum.
Nice.
Although on a miss, my eyeballs break.
So what that just means is you're gonna do the roll, the secure an advantage roll, and when you get the little modifier pop up, you're gonna add +1 that you're getting from your augmentation.
Don't miss.
Well, I think we're all hoping that. All right, so hopefully we will, we're getting lots of benefit to my upcoming roll, which hopefully will make that work out. There we go. Okay, lots of the weak hits, but that's how
the game works.
That's how this game works. Yeah. So with an action score of 7, challenge dice of 7 and 3, it's a weak hit, which means once again you're choosing between taking momentum for yourself and the bonus to my character, but presumably that's what you're choosing.
I would the +1 to aid.
Okay, so that means that I think between the 4 of you, I'm getting an additional +4 on top of what I would get, right?
+3.
+3.
Oh, right, because Hellion didn't help.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Hellion is trusting the pilot.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to once again do face danger, and because of my ace, I'm adding a +1 for my move, and then an additional +3 for all of you helping me. So face danger +4, which. Oh, okay. I see. I'm doing the. Never mind. I'm just gonna. Yeah. Okay. Space. Yeah. There we go. And +4. Oops. Not 8, but 4. Okay. So technically speaking, I actually even rolled a 6, which so we got a 10 for the action score. Challenge dice 6 and 2, so I guess I don't need to always read that out, but that means that once again we're going to mark progress, and that little mark button does work just fine. So we're now at 6 out of 10 on that progress bar. So when we want to try to say we're finishing that whole thing, we're going to roll against the level of progress. And so essentially right now we would be rolling with a score of 6 against challenge die if we were going to try to finish it now. But if we miss on that, we have some new complication. So it might make sense to do one more go around.
Let's do one more.
Yeah, okay. So if everyone can theoretically still be doing approximately the same thing that you were before, well, we maybe try to flavor it a little different, and you do still have to make the move. And so with the potential, of course, that if we get misses, then that makes certain things more complicated.
I am doing the same as I was last time.
Okay. So just continuing to track gravitational anomalies.
And another weak hit. Yep.
Okay, another weak hit. What about Space Rat?
Let's see. I would like to use my gearhead thing of make and move to craft, repair, repurpose, or modify equipment or technology, basically to boost the make a quick modification to boost the engines help throw us clear.
That might be even a move that we could say makes progress. What do you all think?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what would that move?
Well, so your asset, when you're, what are you rolling when you
Well,
use that asset?
I mean, basically, I was saying, a wits with
Yeah.
a.
Well, no, but I mean, what move are you making?
That's what
The
I'm
face
not sure
danger
what.
would seems to me the appropriate.
So your asset,
'Cause-
the gearhead, when you make a move to craft, repair, repurpose, or modify. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I think. Yeah, I think if the face danger is the move, if what we want is to make progress.
yeah,
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So and then
So-
you would be rolling that with wits because you're using your intellect to try to figure out how to give us enough of a boost that it's just easy for me to
Yeah.
make us out the
So
rest
I
of the way.
can get a +1 for the move.
And well, and in fact, I was just going to say an additional +1 because Giles's aid would apply to you. Well, no, I don't know. It would apply in that circumstance, I think. Because
yes, absolutely, it absolutely
Yeah.
applies. So
Okay.
it's a strong hit.
yeah, so great. With that additional +1, strong hit, which means that the face danger tells us that with a strong hit, we do mark more progress, and you take
+1
space rat
momentum.
+1 momentum. Make
Well, actually, because of my path, it gives me +2.
great. So mark that, and I've marked progress again. So now we're at 9 out of 10. So we could
I
do
think
that
we can take.
again to make it
Yeah.
even more confident. But now we can maybe just try to say, let's with that last boost, I'm going to try to just bring us out of danger altogether.
Right. So
Yes.
so let's
This
let's
is
finish
a
it.
progress move where instead of rolling the action die, we roll the challenge die, and it just rolls against this 9 result. So, oh man, one of the
A weak
challenge
hit.
die was a weak hit. So what that this is essentially a take decisive action move to finish the progress there. So on a weak hit, we achieve our objective, but not without cost, and we can roll on the table below. I think makes sense there.
Yeah.
Okay, so others pay the price, someone else suffers the cost.
I
Ash, no. Better yet, Ash is thrown out of her seat and slams against a bulkhead.
Well, so we
Well,
could do
no.
that.
See, the thing is that an ally, you or an ally make a suffer move,
Yeah.
is a different thing. It can't be one of us because that's
Right.
if we
Yeah.
rolled
So
1 to 40.
I think maybe what happens is we manage to get out, but we realize that our desperate sort of attempts to get out, maybe we affect the orbit of the Buccaneer and make
Or
make
just
it be even
while
less
we
time.
were doing this, the Buccaneer has further their
Yeah.
orbit is further decayed.
Yeah. So it just so like maybe
Okay.
it was we ended up further away from it, meaning it's going to continue to decay even as we have to try to get back over to it. But so here's a question. I like that. So when we talk about there being a time, a ticking clock because it's in this decaying orbit, like how much time are we actually talking about here? Like how much time before it would literally be too dangerous for us to be docked with the Buccaneer? I mean, we could do another
long
oracle
enough
for
that we have time to do it. Not so long that we don't do it. I mean,
we could roll an oracle of and say that like it's just percentile dice and it's however many hours.
I was gonna say, since since there was allowed time for it to be missing, I would say at most a couple of days, probably. Like
Well-
since it's already been sitting out here and we did have to travel here, then we had trouble as well.
Right,
That's
but we could be arriving just in the nick of time. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, that's why that's kind of the scale that I was thinking about was that like, if we roll
Or
percentile
maybe-
dice, it's between 1 and 100, and it would be that many hours, right? So the max would be
yeah,
3.
I don't want to make like another stage for getting on board, and then another project track for searching it, and another progress track for
Well, that's
whatever.
actually kind of why I was a little bit wary of having our vow just be dangerous, just because I think we'll blow through that pretty quickly. But maybe that's okay. We just continue to do whatever we want to do after that. But I certainly think that having arrived and located the ship, that's a milestone for our vow,
Okay.
right? There's, let's see, complete a milestone is where's that one? Is that not listed
Quest
here?
moves.
Quest moves. Oh yeah, there we go. So reach a milestone says when you make headway, you make progress, and so we can go to that vow and mark progress there, which because it's dangerous, gives us 2 out of 10 marked. So I mean, I wasn't trying to necessarily say we're going to create all of these different stages of getting to the ship and all of that. But I mean, I feel like that it kind of still makes sense to me to do that. But I was trying to just figure out like how much time are we actually talking about? Like if we have
Oh.
3 weeks, that's different than if we have 3 hours.
It could be like 8 hours. That way it's like,
Yeah, I
you
think
know.
it's on a scale of hours.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
And making it a specific number then means we want to be tracking that time and figuring out how much time each thing we're doing takes.
No.
that's-
We're not talking about like actually putting a stopwatch on the screen. I'm just talking about like having a sense of like what we're working with here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
You
no
have
matter what,
one work
I
day.
mean, I think we have to have a sense of how long it'll be, and
Yeah.
then we still have to, at least in the abstract, kind of be tracking of how long we're taking to do things, right? Like,
Right.
I think it's hours, and I think that because of the instability of the gravity well, and things might happen in the fiction that make it more imminent or less imminent.
Yeah, I
that
mean, the
putting in
shorter
a
the
number in-
time, the more we do have to pay attention to how much time things take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it matters more how long it takes to do each step if it's a short time left. So
Okay.
I'm not saying we don't do that. I'm just saying that if your intent was to not have to track how long it takes to do things, it's more relevant if it's a short amount of time. Am I
Okay. Well,
is
yeah, I'm thinking that we want a short amount of time.
okay? Yeah, no, I mean that totally works for me. I'm just
Yeah.
yeah. All right. So we think that we have a matter of hours, and maybe it's not even 100% clear how long,
Yeah.
because it's like a little bit unstable, and it occasionally is varying in ways that seem a little unexpected.
Right.
I like that. Okay, so we've made progress. We've found the ship. Here's some questions that we probably want to establish as we get closer to the ship and start maybe trying to communicate with or dock with it. Is that we have some oracles about like what the ship
Yeah.
is like?
Yes, let's do those.
Yeah. So for a starship, we know the name already. We have a starship type.
Yeah, let's roll that.
Yeah. So unless anyone else really wants to roll them, I think maybe I can just roll them just for, to
Yeah.
avoid
Yeah.
constantly
Go
having to
ahead.
have the conversation about it. Okay, so starship type. Okay, ships in conflict. How do we feel about that? Do we want there to actually be 2 ships and they're actually
Like there's 2 ships, they're docked together, and it's clearly not a
like one of the like so
One
it's
of them's a
boarders.
pirate.
Like
Yeah.
there's a ship
Well-
that's boarding with the Buccaneer, and
Yeah.
we don't know
Yeah.
why that would be. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, so it tells us to roll twice though to see what the two kinds of ships are.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
I'll do that, and the first one will be the Buccaneer itself, and the other one will be the other ship,
Okay.
multi-purpose, and then Hunter. Okay,
Well,
well,
of
the Hunter
course.
makes
That,
sense, right?
that fits, yeah.
Yeah.
So it gives us good reason to suspect that this might be a pirate vessel of some kind.
Yeah.
But and then multi-purpose, like it could just mean that it has capacity for a lot of like cargo,
Kind of like our ship.
and it maybe has passenger compartments as well,
Mhm,
and that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
I was envisioning it as bigger than our ship. What do you all think? Because I'm thinking
Yeah.
our ship is it's the Millennium Falcon scale, right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a larger cargo ship versus the Millennium Falcon.
right.
Right.
Okay. So the initial contact. So here's a question. I think we can do an oracle about if we open communication lines. Like, do we get a response? Like, is there, or is there a signal being jammed or something?
I think that's a 50-50 chance. It might be one or the other.
Okay, so we'll do 50-50, and if it's below 50, then the communication lines are open, and we'll talk about like what result we get from there. But above 50, communications are jammed. Okay, so the communications are not jammed, which means that this initial contact table, it has like a disposition for the answer we get when we open hailing channels.
Yes. Let's do that.
All right. Hostile. Okay. So it
Well, it
sounds
says to
like
me that the pirates are in control of the
yeah. Okay. All right, and so we've got some first look tables that we can roll on as well. Let's do a couple of rolls for that for the Buccaneer, and then a couple for the
and let's get a
the
name for the
pirate
pirate ship too.
Yes, I agree. And then maybe so. How about this? I will do some rolls for what the two ships look like, and someone else start doing rolls for whoever answers the space phone when we hail. All right. So for the Buccaneer, it has a scarred hull, and it's got a low profile or disguised appearance.
Yeah, it's got a stealthy exterior.
Okay.
Something made to.
Yeah, so
No.
like the sort of thing that's designed to blend in, but the savvy eye can tell there's a slightly more special ship that's designed to.
And I got three possible options.
Okay.
Weird magic invisibility. 2 is radar absorbent angular hull, like you see on like a B1 or one of those stealthy ships. Or 3, it on the outside it just looks like an asteroid.
Okay. We could. Well,
I was thinking maybe it's like freshly marked pirate markings because they,
Well,
the
so
objects-
this is for the Buccaneer first. This is for our.
Oh,
that's
for
what I
our
mean.
target.
Like, basically, Cole painted on some special markings for a pirate group, so he could sneak among some of them to get the object.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
So
we're not
it's
talking about
disguised.
why. We're just talking about what we see there.
Yeah. I mean,
We're learning the why later.
Could be so like at the same time, I don't necessarily hate the idea that both ships look like they have pirate markings on them.
That would be
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
And so that would certainly be a whoa, what's going on there?
Yeah.
Although certainly the fact that it was named the Buccaneer seems portentous.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
maybe what it was the ship was initially kind of a lowest common denominator multi-purpose ship, and so that's why it's got that kind of low profile kind of thing, because it's it's kind of ubiquitous. You see these everywhere, but now it's got the pirate markings on it because it's been boarded and they've taken the ship.
Well, it's got the pirate markings on it. It's disguised as a pirate ship.
Yeah.
Whether the pirates who just took it put it there, or Cole, or the person who runs that ship, we don't know yet. It's just
Okay.
that it's got those pirate markings.
Okay.
I am disinclined to make more of it than what we actually see and discover things as we go.
There is a
rather
risk
than,
in this game of just creating endlessly branching narrative bits that don't ever actually tie back into anything.
Yeah.
I like the idea that they both have the pirate markings, but we also want to just keep in mind in general to not overcomplicate things that don't need to be overcomplicated.
yeah,
Okay, so and then the other ship, this hunter vessel, refitted or repurposed hull, an obsolete design.
oh wow, okay,
You know what? I can also imagine that maybe part of what it was is that Cole and his ship, the Buccaneer, were kind of pirate posers and had attracted the attention of real pirates that think, hey,
yeah,
offer an upgrade.
yeah, hmm
I think that's fun, especially given the ship
yeah.
name and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we got an answer on our communications, and it's hostile.
Yeah.
Do we want to
And
create an NPC to be this person, or do we want to just say that a generic voice just says, "This is our salvage. Get out of here."
yeah, I think the latter is fine.
All right, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not make it any more
Okay.
complicated than it needs to be.
All right. So I think
And
in that context, then that our attempt to go in there and dock with the Buccaneer is not straightforward anymore.
what can if they are kind of docked together with each other, neither ship is going to be in much of a position to maneuver.
Well, but my point is, the place where we would dock with it has a ship there already.
Okay, all right. So maybe we have to get in our environment suits and okay. Why don't we find out whether there's a place that we can dock on either ship, or if we need to do an EVA.
Or for that matter, we do have weapons on our ship, the Relentless. We could have this be like we're going to take advantage of them being docked to this other ship to try to just go blow them off the side of it, which is potentially risky, but there's one way
Well,
to go.
see, we don't know which of those two ships the artifact is on.
It's true.
We don't want to, if the pirates have taken it, it's on their ship. We don't want to
Okay.
go blowing it up.
So I think that's what Rhea had suggested, but then Giles
but
makes that.
then Giles is like, no, don't shoot it yet. We don't know where the artifact is.
Good point.
Perhaps gather information roll to.
We're gonna need. I think we're gonna need to board them in order to find it.
All right, so maybe even gather information from a like if Deadeye wants to use his like what's the way to approach this situation to get us what we're looking for.
If we were closer, well, I don't know how this would work. I mean, to be fair, I have a companion, my comfy little glow cat.
Oh yeah, we didn't really introduce that earlier, but yeah.
But
that's not going to apply ship to ship though.
Yeah, I would have to be within their person so the glow cat can watch them, so I can secure advantage over them and gather some information. But
I think the prudent thing to do is to board them. I think that we can't.
But I agree. A gather information roll prior to that. I think.
Well, yeah.
Just to see if there's a place to board.
Yeah.
And like maybe we might notice something that would make disengaging their boarding possible.
Okay. Well, yeah. So let's have. Hey, Space Rat, can you take a look scan those ships and tell us if there's another way to get on?
Sure.
All right. Gather information.
Strong hit.
Strong hit. So when you gather information on a strong hit, you discover something helpful and specific. The path you must follow or action you must take to make progress is made clear. Envision what you learn and then take +2 momentum. So you get that momentum, Space Rat, for making the move.
I like the idea that I spot a secondary airlock.
Okay. On the Buccaneer? Our
On the
target
Buccaneer.
ship or the pirate? Okay.
Like
rolled
it's
an in for the.
a cargo airlock,
Okay.
a cargo lock that we can hook up to, and it
Okay.
and while it's bigger and meant for cargo, people can go through too.
Okay. Cool. So
Or possibly, and our ship is not terribly big. What if that's like a docking bay? We can put our ship inside.
Hmm.
But you're the one who made the roll. You envision.
And I think it's the size difference isn't that big.
okay.
If we had a shuttle or something, that would be a possibility. But
All right.
All right. So I think then that like the next step I think that we would make progress on for our vow would be successfully getting aboard, right? But and it probably makes sense to have face danger be the role for me to pilot us on in there the rest of the way. Does anyone else have anything you would want to do before I do that? And the answer can be no. That's fine. Just
I am going to man our ship's guns to shoot down any missiles or harpoons or anything that they try
are you the
to
best
stop us
character
with.
to do that?
or perhaps one of our other two companions.
Yeah, I think if
Okay.
if this is a gunner
Well-
situation, that probably would be me.
Okay, then you go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. So do you want to do aid your ally?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
So that would be a secure and advantage move.
Yeah. All right. I'm wondering if this would be strength, endurance, or aggression. It would probably be aggression.
Well, ranged
Yep.
weapons is edge.
Is edge.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's speed, mobility, or agility, so it's not handheld.
Okay, but ranged weapons are edge.
Yeah. Well, it's like
Yeah.
you have to have the mobility with the
Yeah,
controls
it's hand-eye coordination. Your physical
Yeah.
strength doesn't apply.
Okay.
Yeah. Because their little summary there says that, but if you look in the book for what the stats are, it specifically says edge is
Okay.
quickness, agility, and prowess when fighting at a distance. Iron is physical strength, endurance, aggressiveness, and prowess when fighting at close quarters.
Okay. So my gunner thing says if you wield a heavy ranged personal weapon. So this is not a personal weapon.
Yeah,
this is
I
a
think.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe that would not be me, but I can still give it a shot.
All right.
My edge is only one though.
or maybe
Well, I mean,
Yeah. I'll give it a shot. Like I said. So we're looking to shoot
Yeah,
down
so-
any missiles that are threatening our ship. Okay. And please work.
all right. Weak hit.
Well, at least it wasn't a miss.
Yeah. All right. So as I'm getting ready to pilot us in there, I will call out. We're gonna need someone to try to get us in. Like I'm imagining that they're not gonna open their airlock for us. We're gonna need someone to get it open manually.
okay. I gonna need.
And so that's I'm getting ahead of myself though. I should actually do the move first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm adding a modifier +2, which would be my ace +1, and then Hellions aid. Weak hit. Okay. So with a weak hit, you succeed but suffer a troublesome cost. Make a suffer move. So that could be that could be lots of things. But for example, one thing that it could be is I could make it could be stressful, so I could do endure stress, or it could be endure damage for the ship. Like if I'm trying to, that one maybe makes.
I think
the most
withstand
sense.
damage makes the most sense.
Yeah. Okay, so let's. So our ship integrity, we would go take from +5 to +4.
Right.
And then we do the move of endure damage. Let me find that one. I can't. Oh, it's in. There's so. Okay, there we go. Withstand damage. There we go. Integrity is we're rolling +4. No other modifier.
Strong hit.
That's a strong
Yay.
hit. So strong hit for withstand damage. We can either choose to not take the damage, and get our +1 integrity back, or ride it out, take +1 momentum. I think that's what I'm going to do for now. Is I'm gonna take +1 momentum, and we have still our integrity is +4,
Which is really good.
which
so,
we can potentially repair.
Yeah.
But we decide if we want to do that. But it'll be you guys will, I'm up there piloting and you're all strapped in, and there's a little bit. All right, coming in hot. Ka-clunk.
All right. I am going to do a secure an advantage move for the next stage, and kind of take command, be the coordinator person to say, all right, you and you get on that door, get it open. You be ready with your guns to shoot if anybody's on the other side, that kind of thing. So I'm going to roll on I'll roll plus heart for that.
Okay. This is to aid the next person to try
Yep,
to.
and that's a weak hit. So whoever goes next gets a +1.
All right. So we need someone. So like we're in position to be able to enter through this cargo airlock, but given that the other ship is presumably not ready to just open it for us,
Gotta
we need
break
someone
the
to.
lock.
All right. So
See. I guess.
So how would the lock work? Would it be a mechanical lock, like a physical lock, or would
well,
it
I mean,
like a?
yeah. Let's figure that out. What do we think?
Well,
Or would
I
it,
think it's got to be electronic. It's something that our gearhead can hack.
yeah. Well, also there potentially could be a lot of the times, like on the outsides of craft, there are
yeah,
on
there's
certain-
big manual, cranks and stuff like that in case of power failures.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and I was thinking that
Wow.
Gavin could get in his environmental suit and use the distraction of the fact that we kind of like dive bombed in on their pirate raid here as kind of a distraction to try to find the manual open for this.
Well, this is a ship that we've already established that there's this kind of ship's all over the place. So anybody who's been in space for a while has seen one before. So I don't think we need to make rolls to find things. We just decide what we're going to do.
And we need to basically figure out how to open the door. Even
Right.
if
So my guess is that we could go either way. Like there probably is manual controls there because, that they would probably be controlled by those are designed to work if there's a power failure. But if there is power and it's locked, there's probably an electronic lock that has to be bypassed.
Right.
okay.
So we would either have to interrupt the power to the door and then use the manual, or we would have to unlock the lock.
Either way, that we run the tech person
Yeah.
first.
Right.
Yep.
So I still think that would be it would be, I guess the face danger move.
okay. Me or someone else?
Well, we're talking
wanna
about
make sure.
some of the sort of thing that an engineer might do. I think we're talking
Okay.
about you. Yeah.
I think the first thing though would be to see if the power to the Buccaneer is still running.
Well,
It
but I
could
mean,
be-
I think that's what we're doing here, though. I mean, I think that, like, we could try the door and it's locked, and then, so I don't want to like cut you off. I guess I'm just like not sure. I think we
What
were
if we-
assuming that
okay.
there is power.
Yeah, maybe we roll an oracle to see if there's power on board.
yeah,
If the
that-
door's powered, and then we take action based on that.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, because technically, if the pirates did enough damage, they could have knocked the power out. Because I don't think necessarily.
Okay.
Well, but didn't they answer our hail?
Well,
So
but
the
that could have
pow-
been from their ship.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm going to roll 50-50.
Oh, actually,
Is there power on the ship?
okay.
No.
Okay.
Power is
Okay.
down on the Buccaneer.
Buccaneer.
Okay. Well, so if that means then that the manual controls are there, I mean, that might make more sense to be like an iron
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
challenge.
Yep.
Oh,
Right.
well, in that case,
Who's our iron
Yep.
person?
That would be
I have
me.
an iron of one.
Iron is 3. Let me at that sucker.
All right.
Okay.
And remember, you get a +1 because of my move.
Okay.
So who's
So
on-
like Space Rat is working at the controls thing, goes to the controls, tries to do something and says, wait, there's no power. Hellion, move it.
All right.
Flip the thing, and and then there's a wheel.
I gotcha. All right. All right. So it's +1. Do you actually have to put the plus in there?
You put the +1
Yeah,
in when
and
the
the-
one when
the
when the
modifier.
window pops up.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't put a plus on that. You just put one
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
or
fine.
whatever the
Oh, it's just the one.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
If it's negative, you need to put that.
You can type the +1 and it's fine.
Strong
but You
hit.
don't have to.
One hit.
Yeah,
Yay.
great. So what that means then is that you succeed in getting it open, and you take +1 momentum.
Okay.
And I think that we declared that like getting on board would be like another milestone for our vow.
Okay.
So I'm marking progress there. We're at 4 out of 10. Although certainly in this context, we probably wouldn't choose to fulfill until it like made sense. But then again, I guess, see, what the way that could work is if what we did right now, for example, is say, this is too dangerous, we're going to leave and say they were attacked by pirates, we were not able to recover the artifact. And so it's not as likely that they would say, that's great, you're good. But it might be, oh, well, you did the best you could, and that's why you still, right? Like that's how that
Yeah.
works. But we would
Yeah.
probably not at this time choose to
Yeah.
flee because we're still doing okay. But okay, so I think Rhea leaves the engine running, but comes back down to the cargo bay with her sidearm in hand and just fancy little. Ready to fight some pirates?
No,
Yes.
I'm ready to go find the artifact.
All right, then you guys can stay here and guard the ship, and we'll see you when we get back.
I said I'm ready to find the artifact.
Yeah. Alon is definitely going with.
All right, so we
got-
are
Yeah.
probably. So are we? We're docked, and I think even if there's no power, there's probably still air pressure in there. But
Yeah.
are we all in our environment suits or what?
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
safe. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Because air or not, like air pressure doesn't mean it's good air.
So here's a question. We don't have to. So there are ways that you can treat exploring a ship like, you use like delve type moves on it where you set your own little progress bar for that. But I'm not sure we really care about that here, especially if we've established the ship isn't that big and it's a familiar design. We don't have to have a whole progress bar that's just for let's look for this guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do you all think? Because there are also a bunch of ship oracles though that are be like, what area of the ship are we in, and what does it look like, and what sorts of dangers are there here? Because
Yeah, I
we can
don't
have
think-
it
I don't-
be. So what we can do is we can have looking for coal and the artifact be like an expedition within the ship.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let's do that then.
Like-
So
but
we're
like
going
an
to create
easier one?
a new progress. We can you can. I'm gonna delete the old gravity well one because we finished that. But then create a new progress bar, and it'll be troublesome because we don't want it to be a higher tier than our whole quest.
Yeah.
Find coal and the artifact. Okay, and that's a troublesome expedition. So we're going to need to undertake an expedition, trailblazing a route through hazardous, perilous, mysterious place. So this is for each segment of the envision. So how are we proceeding? And based on our approach here, we'll decide who makes the undertaken expedition roll and on with
Well,
what
the
stat.
first thing I was thinking that we would try to connect to the onboard computers and
But we established
and,
there's no power though.
right, but that doesn't mean that individual elements can't be powered up with some portable power and interrogated. So I was going to have Giles bring some power cells and a interface equipment and see what he can learn from.
So
Or maybe the first place we go is
that. So what we're establishing first though for the undertaken expedition roll, we're not even there yet. What
Okay.
this is
Yeah.
is we've got the door open. Now what? Are
I
we
think, yeah.
storming in? Are we sneaking in? That's what we're determining right now.
storming in because they know we're here.
Okay. Well, so that sounds like that would be an aggressive approach. So we would want someone to roll the move with. Well, let's see.
Iron or
They
edge.
say move at speed is edge. Keep under the radar would be shadow. Vigilant would be wits. And so they don't give us an iron option for this move.
Okay. Then
But
then
speed
then,
would be
then
edge.
move at speed. Yeah.
All right. Well, so I have the best edge, but I think it also my character is kind of ready to go. So
Yeah. So
Yeah.
go roll it.
Yeah.
all right, rolling undertaken expedition at speed. All right, so we got a weak hit. So on a weak hit, we do reach a waypoint. So we're going to mark progress on our expedition progress bar. But the progress costs you. We have to either make a suffer move -2 or 2 suffer moves -1, or we face a peril at the waypoint. Envision what you encounter. I think,
Face peril.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And it's
Peril.
pirates.
Yeah, that certainly seems like it's the most obvious, right? So we mark progress that we've made our way partly in here. But do we want to just say it seems obvious that it would be pirates, or do we want to roll because there's spaceship perils that we could roll?
How about a 50-50? 50 chance if it's ask if it's pirates, and if
Okay.
it's not, then
Right. Okay. So, is the danger we encounter pirates? Yes. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So the book actually has sample NPCs, and pirates are one of the ones they have. So we could go ahead and use drift pirates here.
All right.
So a pirate boarding party is a tier 3, which is the formidable.
okay.
All right, so pirate boarding party. Let's do some combat. Party. So got a progress bar for pirate boarding party, and it is formidable, which means that when we mark progress, we are filling one box at a time. So that means that let's see. Let me double check for combat with enter the fray. Like, is that another move that just one of us does, or do we all make the enter the fray move? I think we might all make the enter the fray move because we, you know, because it determines things like we're each of us either in control or in a tight spot individually. So let's see. Combat moves: enter the fray. When you initiate combat or are forced into a fight, we've done that. Then you roll to see if you're in control. So basically, we each do enter the fray based on how we do it. So enter the fray on the move is how I'm doing it. So I'm rolling plus edge. No additional modifier. Actually, hang on. Let me double check because I have my gunslinger. When I enter the fray by facing off against my foe, plus heart, or by preparing to act without tipping them off, plus shadow. Okay, so what is my heart is +1. You know what? I think I'm actually almost better not
Using that.
yeah. Actually, hang on. My shadow is +2. So I think
And that would still give you a strong hit.
yeah, if I try to act without tipping them off, I still get to add +1, which is the same as if I rolled for edge, and then I get an additional momentum. So I'm still going to do that. So I think what I'm doing actually is I see them and I nod to the others, and then I kind of just wander in casually without the gun drawn. I just say, "Hey, what's up, fellas?" And then as they turn in surprise, that's where I'm going to quick draw on them. That's what I'm doing.
Let's
Okay.
see on shot first.
Yeah. So I'm entering the fray with shadow, but I am adding a +1 for my
Right, which is the
gunslinger.
same roll. So
Yeah. Okay, miss with a match.
Oh no!
Yeah. Okay. So
Wait, you're not okay.
yeah. So all that means for enter the fray is that I do not have control over the situation. I don't, and so this is not even the question of like, do I hit anybody? Like this a miss with a match. What that sounds like to me, I'm just going to go ahead and volunteer. I fumble my quick draw, and the gun skitters across the floor.
Or they turn and they you came up and like, what's up, guys? And they turn and it's something. The match is a really weird thing.
Well,
right?
because
so there's something about them you didn't expect, and
well, but it's not necessarily just a weird thing. It's like it's extra bad. It's not
Okay.
just
Like
a miss. It's extra bad.
It's a critical fail.
Yeah,
It's a-
essentially.
Yeah,
And so
see, I was envisioning you were like, "Hey, what's up, guys?" and tried to be slick and
Yeah.
went for the quick draw, and you literally threw the gun.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so-
That's what I'm saying is that like I fumble it and it goes clunk 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 and skitters,
Yeah,
and then
and-
I'm
and
standing
at
there
that
going
moment-
like ha ha.
Yeah, at that moment, you both like they and you both watch the gun skitter across the floor,
Yeah.
and they look back at you. You look back at them and go,
Yeah. So, but yeah. So that's where I'm like, okay, guys, enter the fray. Enter the fray.
all right.
Yeah.
So okay, so I'll take the next move.
But
So
we all
bear in mind,
enter the
we're
fray?
all doing enter the fray.
Right.
Everyone rolls that to govern how you enter the battle. So
So,
you're not making
yeah.
a combat attack yet. This is how you're moving into. So
Yeah.
what it determines is whether you are in control or if you're in a tight spot.
Yeah, and I am going to roll because I don't see facing off against your foe being A, Charles's style,
Sure.
or B, applicable in the situation. So I'm going to say sizing up the situation. He's standing back and he's like got a scanner out or something and he's marking targets.
Okay.
And that's a weak hit.
Okay.
So I will say that I'm in control.
Okay. And so the difference for those who haven't played this game before, the difference here, this is the same mechanic that they called initiative back in Ironsworn, but I think this is better terminology. It dictates which moves you can do, whether you're in control or in a tight spot. And so there's different combat moves you can do depending on which situation you're in. All right, so Giles is in control, scanning targets. What about you, Deadeye?
This I am going to try to enter the fray without being noticed. So I can try to get behind the group and kind of pincer them so that we're not all just in like this,
Yeah, it makes sense.
stand where we're like, we'll just shoot at each other and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Sliding around behind cargo crates or something.
Yeah.
All right. So do your roll plus shadow. All right. Weak hit. So you again you're choosing to either take +2 momentum or to be in control.
Let's see.
Probably if you're not starting. So remember, we're in a fight now. So you start, because if you're a veteran, you start with +3 momentum.
You know what? I would actually like to burn momentum to make that. Can I burn momentum to make that better?
How much do you have right now?
Since I am a veteran, I have +3, so I could make.
Well, no. So if you burn momentum, you have what burning momentum does right now is it changes your action score to your momentum value. So in order, you would have to have +8 momentum to turn this to a strong hit.
Oh, yeah, I can do that. So yeah, then I'll say that I'm just in control then.
Okay.
And
I think that's the right call at this point, because it allows you to make your move better next.
Yeah, and I do now. I will say, guys, I do have my Glowcat with me. My Glowcat's actually in my environmental suit, so like you see my face, but then there's like a little glowy face next to me. It's like you just see like a little kitten like peeking out like from the corner.
I kind of like the idea that like we maybe like or did you name your Glowcat?
Yes, its name is Ampersand.
Ampersand, great. So, like, did we even know that you had Ampersand? Did you, like, have Ampersand wandering around on the ship before we got here? Or I think it's almost kind of funny if, like, seeing him peek out, like, right now in the middle of this is the first time we're all seeing him. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, because he hangs out in my ship. Like, because, space is dangerous for a small creature.
It is.
Yeah, I have this image of the spacesuit kind of thing, and here's this little kitten head just kind of up against your chin, peeking out.
That's exactly why my sneaking didn't go so well.
No, it went fine. It went fine. But Hellion, let's go ahead and get the remaining two enter the phrase.
Okay, I'm going to walk up and punch a dude.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Well,
I
so
have
bear in
an
mind,
armored-
you're not actually attacking yet. This is just like how you're sort of coming into it. This is not an attack.
But I think that is a very evocative.
No,
way
I
of
agree.
coming
I
into
agree.
it.
So
In
so
the
this
thick of it is close quarters is what
Yeah.
you're doing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It just coming up and that fist goes up.
Yeah.
All right. So let's see. Iron. Strong hit.
Strong hit. Nice.
Great.
So you get-
yeah. So you get to take. You're in control, and you take +2 momentum.
Okay.
Right. For Space Rat, it's going to be a sizing up the situation because he's not a not really a combat character, but he's so he's trying to figure out what he can do to help.
Mm-hmm.
Weak hit, and I think I will take the +2 momentum because he's not in control.
Okay, sure. Okay, so strictly speaking, now that we've all entered the fray, there's not proper initiative in this. It's mostly just we kind of decide. I think it's straightforward for us to just kind of go in order left to right the way we just did, but it doesn't have to be that way. We can do, we can do kind
Who's in control? Who's not?
well, no, I was just going to say we could do like team up moves or delay or whatever. Like if you wanted to say, I want to do a thing, but I want to wait until someone else does the thing first. Like we can do that. So it's not formal initiative.
I would like to start with a gain ground move.
Okay.
Rolling on heart for commanding and using the information that I got from my scan to transmit information to the heads up displays on the other other characters about threats and angles and layouts and things like that.
Great. Great. Go ahead and do your roll.
That's
Okay.
a weak hit.
Yeah, so with a weak hit for gain ground, you are choosing between mark progress on our progress bar, take +2 momentum, or add +1 on, it says on your next move, but I think as we talked about, like you could be giving that +1 to someone
Yeah.
else if you want.
Yeah, I will say that this is a +1 that anyone can, can grab and use on their turn.
Okay. Great. I think that my first reaction, it has to be react under fire, because I'm not in control, because I'm in a bad spot. React under fire is one of the rules that I can do where I'm going to try to recover my gun.
Yes.
So I'm rolling this with edge. All right, great.
Strong hit.
Strong hit. So I succeed in recovering my gun. I get +1 momentum, and I am now in control, which means that like I have like I did a fancy Kirk roll and came up with my gun in a in a place of cover instead of in danger, which is cool enough that it slightly makes up for how embarrassing that quick draw was. Okay, so who wants to do a next thing?
Did you use the +1 that I gave, or did you?
I
go
didn't.
straight?
I didn't use it. So
Okay.
it's still available. Hellion, you kind of mentioned just wading in and punching someone. So
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and do that punch to the face.
all right. So what you would be doing is the strike move, which is
Yeah.
that's attacking when you are in control.
Right. And let's see. I'm going to leave that +1 free.
Okay.
Oh,
All
a
right.
miss.
Yeah.
Ooh.
So on a miss, you the fight turns against you. You are in a bad spot and must pay the price. So you lose your control and then also pay the price. Where is that pay the price table? There we
It's
go.
the very last one.
All right. So I think it makes sense to go to that pay the price oracle and roll that, Hellion,
Okay.
to see how
Yep.
this goes wrong.
Okay. I'm trying to find it myself.
It's the
Very
like the
last
last
thing.
bottom right.
Yeah, fate move.
Yeah.
Because
It's on the moves tabs, the very bottom right.
moves. Okay,
Yeah.
moves. Very last one. Pay the price.
And there's a pay the price oracle in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ask the.
Yeah, you have to open it up and then click the top of it. Pay the price oracle.
And then just pay the
Yeah,
price. Ask the oracle.
Go ahead and roll it. Yeah, you're good.
It's not rolling.
Okay, I
Oh,
just
there-
rolled it and you click. So you open it up so you have it open and then you click the top where it says pay the price oracle.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry.
That's all right.
All right. What'd I do?
You got
I mean there we
Well,
go.
roll it.
No, I mean yeah, it's not. It didn't roll. There's one on there that was me rolling it.
Yeah.
Okay.
so
All right.
There you go. You are delayed or put at a disadvantage. So how do we think that happened as you were going in to push them? Like,
I was up here, and the guy just put his gun up against my head.
okay, yeah, like
Okay.
he was faster than you expected.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, he did the quick draw properly.
Yeah.
All right, great, cool. Okay, so we still have opportunities for Deadeye and Space Rat to do something.
Go ahead, Deadeye.
Yeah. So I see the mishap with trying to punch a man with a gun. And I'm going to try to gain ground but I would like to do it by hiding and preparing an ambush.
Okay. Sorry, you keep turning away from the microphone. It's very hard to hear you.
I go where my eyes are. I'm trying to read. I want to gain ground by trying
Mm-hmm.
to set up an ambush to basically be able to either coordinate and aid
Okay.
Ash from getting out of this situation, or
Mhm.
potentially distracting them to where they maybe don't focus on Ash at this moment.
Right. So yeah, when you are in control and take action in a fight to reinforce your position or move towards an objective, you and presumably you are hiding, preparing an ambush, or misdirecting. So you roll plus shadow. All right. Weak hit. So on a weak hit, you are choosing between mark progress on the defeating the pirates bar, take +2 momentum, or at getting another +1. Although if you I think ideally we would do it before seeing the result of the roll. But if you take the +1 left over from Giles this time, you would have a strong hit.
I'll take a +1 on my next move because my next move will be to try to aid,
Okay.
physically help. Ash.
So that means we have 2 +1s currently floating. All right.
That's
Okay,
everybody's
so-
had around, right?
Space Rat hasn't done anything.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, so gonna react under fire because I'm not in control.
Mhm.
And I think
You've got some +1s you can take if you want.
yeah, in pursuit, fleeing, dodging, getting back in. Basically, he's gonna be taking cover and trying to find something
Yeah.
he can actually do, and he'll
Well-
take the +1s.
Okay, so there is changing the plan, finding a way out, or cleverly bypassing an obstacle that would let you roll plus wits. I mean, if you decide that's not what you want to do, that's fine. I'm just saying that
Yeah,
it's an option.
I'm gonna go with edge.
Okay, sure.
So that's
Not used to being in this kind of a situation.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Oh, strong hit. I
Okay.
succeed, and I'm in control.
Okay. So, but what did you succeed in doing? What were you trying to do here?
So I did take cover, and I noticed the reason the pirates are in here is there's a container, which be like, if I had an important artifact, that's exactly the type of container I put it in.
Okay. And I
Yeah.
mean, I think it theoretically makes sense that if this is the cargo bay of the Buccaneer.
Yeah.
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 Okay, great. So you take your momentum and you're in control.
Yep.
So we're back up at the top. So we could do it in any order, but if anyone wanted to just jump in right away, I mean, I'm planning to go ahead and strike, but again, I guess.
Okay, I'm gonna do the same, similar last time.
Okay.
Commanding, coordinating move for gain ground.
Okay.
Strong hit.
Nice.
And so I am going to take +2 momentum and add a +1 for people.
Okay. Well, so notably, I mean, I'm going to try to do it in a minute, but we have not made any progress yet. We're all doing advantages, but we have not actually succeeded in damaging any pirates.
Okay,
So-
in that case, instead of taking the the thing is that then
I mean, and it's fine. So if you feel like what you're doing, it doesn't make sense to take mark progress, that's fine. I'm just noting that we, where we are so far. But yeah, that makes
Right.
sense. So you choose the momentum and the +1.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to strike now that I'm in control and I have my gun back. I'm going to try to kill some pirates.
Well, it's only at close quarters, right? I think
No, strike is iron if you're in close quarters and edge if you're in a distance.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. I was reading it. I was
No
not
worries.
reading it.
So I'm going to Got okay, sorry, never mind. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and roll strike. I'm gonna take your +1.
Okay.
And this is with edge. Hang on, let me double check my gunslinger. That's only for enter the fray. Okay. So strike plus edge +1. One of the challenge die, weak hit. So on a weak hit, I mark progress twice, but exposed myself to danger. So I'm no longer in control, but I do get to mark progress twice, which is going to fill two boxes out of 10. So, but I think in making those shots, I've left cover, and so I'm theoretically, exposed. Okay, so who wants to go next?
I have something. If
Yeah.
I'm going to gain ground by charging boldly into action. I'm going to grab that case and just start running.
Okay.
Because if necessary, I might draw some pirates off and.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any plus?
No,
any
she used the
mean-
one that was on the table.
Okay.
Okay, so
I'm-
it would be a miss, but it suggests you have enough momentum to burn momentum. and make a
Exactly.
strong hit.
I have
Okay.
I have 9 momentum.
All right. Well,
I
so
think
are
you
you
burn it.
choosing to burn it then?
Yes.
Okay. So your goal then was to have this container.
Yes.
How big is this container? Because the way you were describing it didn't sound like it was necessarily something easy for a non-strong person to just pick up and run with.
I figured something where he, like a kind of large suitcase where you pick it up and just bear hug it.
Okay.
And just
But like, what are you doing with it though when you have it? Like, because
I'm running basically towards the ship, towards our ship.
Okay. I mean, we still have to find coal, but sure.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
be like,
Yeah.
I have it.
Well, you have a container that seems likely.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, and so on a weak hit, choose one. I'm going to choose
No,
mark
no,
progress.
it's a strong hit if you burn momentum.
Oh,
Yep. So it's just
yeah.
three.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. I'll choose 2. I mark progress and +1 on next move because that's distracting. It's like,
Yeah. All right. I mean, we don't even know that the pirates know about that, but we'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. So certainly you've done that. All right. So we've still got Deadeye and Hellion this round.
Since Hellion's in a bad way, I'm gonna see if I can actually topple some of these crates into the pirates as they haven't noticed me.
Okay. Sure. Well,
I would strike. I would try to strike them.
yeah. So, okay, well, so note that the strike move needs to be either edge or iron.
Yeah, I'll do iron because they're both a +1. But I do get a +1 from my last thingamabob.
Oh, was that
Yeah.
still available, or
Oh, did they?
Oh, wait.
I thought the space rat had used it the last round.
Yeah.
I did not use it. I asked if there were any.
Okay, well, no, I mean the last round, because we did it in a different order this time. So not
Yeah.
for this turn that you just took, space rat, but the previous one.
Oh,
Yeah, you used them last time.
Yeah.
yeah.
But,
there's no
there
pluses
is
in the
but there is one available right now just because of what space rat just did.
Yeah. There's that +1.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll use.
And if you want to do gain ground instead of strike,
Well,
Why though? Why?
Paintbrush?
Why?
Yeah, because I'm actually trying to actually hit them with the crates because I did
Yeah.
that. I
okay.
used the gain ground last
Yeah.
time. I'm not really good at these things, but it's fun. We're gonna make.
Well, yeah, no, it's yeah. We just like at a certain point, we can do a lot of gaining ground without actually shooting the pirates, and it doesn't.
Yeah. But yeah, since there's that 1+1, I'll roll that.
Although gain ground, I suppose one of the options you can choose is to mark
Yeah.
progress.
Yep,
So that's true. Okay, that's a good point. So you can actually, if you want to roll shadow, if you get a hit, you can choose mark progress as one of the things that happens.
Yeah.
And actually, that makes some sense to like from secret drop some crates on someone.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, that's like executing the ambush.
yeah. That's why I was thinking strike, because on a strong hit you mark progress twice, and you dominate the foe, meaning like I would
That's
top the
true,
crate.
right? Okay, so that's the difference. Is that with gain ground you could use your better stat, but the max that you could get is mark progress once, but strike you could potentially do it twice.
Yeah, and on a weak hit with the strike,
Yeah.
I would still mark progress twice,
Okay,
but
yeah.
I would expose myself to danger,
Yeah,
which is
so-
absolutely what would happen.
Sure. So just go ahead and roll the one that you prefer.
Ooh, and I
Okay,
missed. So,
that's a miss. So unfortunately, with a miss on strike,
Yeah.
the fight turns against you. So you are not only in a bad spot, but you also need to pay the price. So you need to go back to that pay the price oracle.
but yeah, so I do push the crate, but it hits nothing, and I'm sitting up there like,
Yeah. Well, not only do the pay the price oracle, and we can figure out what else happens maybe, and we decide how to flavor it. Okay. Separated from something or someone. Does so?
I got an idea.
Okay.
He's shoving over this stack of crates, and he sets off a cargo stabilization system, and something that's supposed to keep crates from falling over, and it gets like picked up by it and like hauled up to the top of the cargo bay.
Oh, okay. But what is that?
He's separated from us. He's no longer like down where the
Or maybe he misjudges how the crates fall, and basically they fall and kind of trap him behind it.
Jason.
Yeah, I mean, like
You're the one who's taken this. What do you want to do?
so okay. So how about this? We'll say Glowcat doesn't need.
Oh, that's a great.
Doesn't necessarily need the environmental suit. I'm a human. I need the environmental suit. But Glowcat does it. And Glowcat happens to somehow in this fray. We'll say, let's say, because Glowcat's not necessarily a normal cat. It can shift itself kind of,
It can walk through walls.
It's a phase cat.
yeah, like a phase cat. And it gets scared by the sound of combat and gunfire and me pushing a crate.
Yeah.
And hauls butt. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. No. That's a good complication. So not only are you in a bad spot, but also you no longer have Glowcat or ampersand on your person.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you guys see, not only was there like a little glowy green face in the suit, now there's a little green glowy blur darting across the shadowy cargo bay.
Yikes. Okay. Great. So I think we have just Hellion left, who you were in. You were in a bad spot, so you can still fight and potentially do damage with Clash.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was thinking that I was going to do is do Clash.
All right. Okay. So with a weak hit on Clash, we are going to mark progress. One time, but you are dealt a counterblow or setback. You stay in a bad spot and must pay the price.
All right, and that's moves.
That's if you don't want to take like an obvious pay the price. You can.
Yeah, like if.
Well, no, it's the same. It's the same. The same one. Do you want me to roll it again?
Yeah. Let's.
Yeah, let's get an interesting one.
Something of value is lost or destroyed. Does your
Oh.
armor get damaged, or you you have an integrity score for your armor, right?
I
I don't
don't
remember.
know.
Okay.
It'll be on your asset card.
Yeah, maybe not.
It doesn't. It doesn't
Okay,
have an
well, so
integrity.
maybe not then. Okay, so
Yeah.
okay, so I don't know what I mean. We could roll again if you really just can't think of anything. But it
Or
also,
just take harmed.
yeah,
Yeah. I'll take harmed.
Okay. Then I think that's the endure harm move.
okay. Well, so yeah, bear in mind though that this is formidable. So if
Uh-huh.
you take harm, it's -3.
Oh, okay. No. Let's see. Let's see. What's valuable?
Sacrifice resources. Isn't that one? That's one of them.
Yeah, that'll be everyone's supply.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it does.
You've got a healer in the group.
Something of value is lost or destroyed. I tell you what. My gun, my big gun,
Okay.
is broken in the fray, and so it can't function until I repair it.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Nice.
Not that I was actually using it at the moment, but let's
Sure.
just do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that works.
They're fighting back and forth and smash
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
the gun gets broken.
Yep. So I think then that's everyone for that round. Does anyone have anything you want to just leap into doing, or I can?
Now I'm going to I yeah, go ahead. I'm gonna hold off.
All right. Well, I'm feeling like we need to drop a few more bodies on these pirates, so I'm going to go ahead and clash. Meaning I've left myself. I didn't go back into cover. I'm just continuing to fire. And rolling edge. We don't have any +1s on the table, right?
Nope.
All right.
I don't think so.
All right. Great. I got a strong hit. So with
Yay.
clash, on a strong hit, you mark progress twice, and you return to being in control. And so I'm just just blasting away my sidearm. So marking progress twice, we are now at 5 out of 10 on our tracker. And I duck back under cover. All right. I mean, it can be anybody.
So since I'm already up here and this is a cargo bay, I'm gonna try again. I'm gonna try to push more of these crates onto these guys because I'm not necessarily.
So bear in mind that because you were left not in control last time, you have to do you can't do gain ground because gain ground requires that you be in control. But you could do react under fire. But so you have to do rolls that allow that you can do when you're in a bad spot, and so the results are going to be different.
Okay.
Yeah. But
So
creating a distraction.
Yeah, or for that matter, like what I did to retrieve my gun, for example, was react under fire. So maybe you need to recover ampersand or get back into cover, or that might be something you could do.
Yeah,
Alternatively, if you wanted to try to continue fighting them, that would probably be clash. I think clash is the only move that can still do damage to them if you're not in control.
Yeah, I was thinking clash because if we can get rid of the pirates, then I can retrieve ampersand without much issue. Which is why I was going to try to do clash and again push more crates on top of these guys because I don't want to get close. Because the last time I saw someone get close, they had a gun put on them, and I was not. I'm delicate.
Sure. All right. Well, so go ahead and roll clash. It's going to be either with edge or iron.
They're the same, so I'll do it with iron.
Okay.
Ooh,
Okay.
miss.
Yeah, and unfortunately, with miss on Clash, you are going to need to pay the price again. So maybe it makes sense to go ahead and roll that, and then we can narrate how that works out. That how it goes wrong.
Yeah.
You are harmed.
Fall
Okay.
off the
Oh, that's
Yeah. So what that means in this case is that you're going to take 3 health. You're lose 3 health. So you're going to go down to +2, and then you need to do endure harm, the endure harm move. Okay. So yeah, you reduce your health to +2, and then so bear in mind you did roll roll health.
Okay, I
But
flipped
just
over.
related to that move is that you can either roll health or iron, whichever is higher. But I guess if it's your health is still 2 is still higher than your iron.
Yeah, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to roll that. I was actually trying to change my health for you, and I hit the wrong one.
Okay,
So
well it worked. So actually, then that if you're
Yeah, that's
yeah, so let's just do it again. So change your health to +2.
Yep.
And now, because you would be choosing to either roll your health or your iron, whichever is higher. But if your iron is 1, then your health is still higher. So do the move again.
it was endure harm.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah, these pirates are serious business. You're kind of just exposed, and I think you just get several of them just unload on you.
Because I happened to fall off said crates.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Endure harm.
Okay.
that's the endure harm oracle.
Oracle. Okay, yeah. So
We
that's
want
that.
we want
Yeah.
the endure harm roll.
Yeah, so you're just doing the roll up at the top, and it should be
Yeah, you don't
mhm.
you don't roll on that unless your health is 0.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So where is that? So
The
what
endure harm roll is at the
Yeah,
top of
so
the.
at the top, yeah, right under endure harm where it says roll.
Would that? So is that under? Would that be
Okay,
under,
so the thing that you rolled, the thing that you need to roll is 3 inches above that.
Yeah. Instead of rolling on the
Yeah.
endure harm oracle, roll
Yeah.
on the roll button under.
If you
endure harm.
didn't open the whole preview for endure harm, do it where you can see the rules of the move.
Oh, gotcha. I
Yeah.
see where it has the suffer moves where it is endure harm, and then there's just a dice.
Yeah, well, so
But don't hit
okay,
the
but yeah,
dice.
so open it up.
Actually, open it up.
Yeah, it's okay. Let's just move it. Or I don't mean to. I don't. That came out different than I meant. But let's try to keep moving along and not just talk about.
Here we go.
Okay, there we go. So with endure harm on a weak hit, you do not have the wounded tag. But so what you can do is you've lost 3 health, but you can choose to reduce your momentum by 1 to get 1 of those health back.
That's fine. I'll do that.
Okay, so and then that's where we end it for you. So that didn't go great, but that's how it goes sometimes.
right.
All right.
So who's left to go?
Most of us.
Most of us. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
there was just me and Deadeye so far. I think.
Yeah. I think Hellion is going to continue with Clash. She brought her fist to a gunfight, and now she's mad because she broke her gun.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna burn that momentum.
All right. So with Clash, a weak hit, you're going to mark progress once, but you are dealt a counter blow or setback. So you stay in a bad spot and must pay the price.
All right.
You know what? Work that out. I'll be right back.
Okay. Surprising development complicates your quest.
Um,
I just had thought of it.
a stray shot hits the box that we think might contain the artifact.
Or my thought is like, I basically it's revealed that Cole is among the pirates.
Like Cole joined the pirate side.
Yeah.
Or had
Yeah.
been all along, or any number of.
Your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
Yeah. Basically.
Well, you're the one who rolled it, so you're the one who gets to pick what happens. But
Yeah.
another option is that the artifact gets damaged, or a stray shot hits the box that we think might contain the artifact, and some weird magical thing happens because the artifact is in there.
I actually like Cole being among the pirates. As
Like
the simplest, yeah, the curse your inevitable betrayal.
Okay.
As the most streamlined
Yeah. Okay.
version, surprising
like that.
development that complicates the quest.
So did we have a picture of him? Like, how do we discover that?
I think one of the pirates actually, cusses him out, saying, "You said this handoff was going to be simple, Cole."
Oh, okay.
Or
Yeah,
Savella.
no, that works. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So that
Yeah.
raises the question then of like, do we try to take him alive?
Well, yeah, that's the mission,
that's
right?
the complication, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I guess that's a good point. But then again, bear in mind that completing the progress bar, so to speak, means achieving our objective dealing with the pirates. It doesn't have to mean we killed everybody, right?
Right.
Right.
And you at least get to mark progress at least once on the weak hit.
Yeah. So
Actually, yeah. Yeah.
So with Clash on a weak hit, you mark progress once, which means we're at 6 out of 10.
Yeah.
And which means, theoretically, we could try to take decisive action and finish the situation, but it's risky still.
Okay, I'm going to gain ground here.
Okay.
And you know what? I'm going to, now that we've figured out what Cole is there, I'm going to use negotiating, commanding, a roll plus heart, and I'm going to say, Cole, we're here to bring you back. We don't need to fight we don't need to fight your friends if you come with us, and just try to
like we don't have to mention this whole little pirate encounter if you surrender to us now.
exactly. So I'm going to roll plus heart.
Okay. And see, this is a good example of a gain ground where it might make sense to have it count as marking progress, right?
Right.
Okay.
Ooh, it's a miss.
Though. Yeah.
Yeah. I need to pay the price, and I lose control. And
I am related to that, though. I'm going to say that this certainly counts as a milestone of our expedition of find Cole and the Buccaneer,
and I am
recover
stressed.
the artifact.
So
Okay.
that means my spirit drops by 3, correct? Because of the level of.
I think that's right. Although the endure harm thing seems to say that there's like minor, major, and severe.
Minor stress, serious stress, or major stress.
But that's how how it worked in Ironsworn, is that like the tier of the enemy dictated how much damage they did to you. Let me. I believe that's the case. I will sort of try to review the book in the
Okay.
meantime.
Well,
But
I'm gonna
let's
yeah.
assume that's what
I'm
it
gonna
is for
assume
now.
yeah, yeah. Now, luckily, my heart is +3, so I can roll +3 on the endure stress.
Well, stress would be spirit.
Well,
Right. So
Oh,
I
but
took
I see.
Harder.
Right.
Yeah, right. It's a little bit awkward that yeah. I guess you're rolling heart to yeah. Okay, never mind. It's fine. It's just my own issues. Um, let's see.
and I got a weak hit on that.
Okay.
So I can lose momentum in exchange for +1 spirit, and I will do that. So my spirit is now +3.
Okay.
And what I think happened there is that he quoted some piece of fiction, either on purpose or not, that resonated with something. I'm trying to think of a situation, but I can't think of one off the top of my head from the media
Oh,
that he's got
okay.
in his
So
tropository. Um,
so it's not one to one, but what it is saying you take their rank into account when you endure harm or stress, and if unsure, you can consider troublesome foes as typically doing 1, dangerous and
Okay.
formidable as doing 2.
okay, so it was 2. Then I'm at
Yeah.
+4 now instead of.
Yeah. So Deadeye, you can actually take 1 additional health back as well.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Any case, yeah.
Well, it's a change to the way it was done in Ironsworn, but that's fine.
Yeah. In any case, he quotes some piece of media, inadvertently or not. I can't tell, and that rattles Giles.
Okay. Well, it also
significantly.
suggests that Cole is not going to come quietly.
And he's not. Yeah, he's definitely
All
not
right.
going to come.
So we didn't make progress on our pirate boarding party like combat, but for our vow, I marked. I figure we mark progress for that quest though, because we found Cole
Yeah.
now, right?
Yeah.
So we're at 6 out of 10 on that now.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Who else? Who else
Okay.
needs to take action?
Me.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I hear all this and it's like, okay. I'm going to basically I'll find a safe place to put down the case, pull out my pea shooter of a weapon,
Okay.
and just go in and just start firing.
Okay. I believe we left you in control, right? So you can
Yes.
you can do strike if that's the move you want.
Yep, doing it.
All right, so you would be rolling edge. Okay, strong hit with a match means that not only do you mark we mark progress twice, which I'll go ahead and do here. So we're now at 8 out of 10 there. But also the match means that there's a new opportunity generated as a result of this. So we could try to decide what we think it is, or there's a table that we could roll for Starship. Let's see, where is that opportunity? There's one on space, but I think there might be another one. No, that's in space. There's another one, I'm sure, I think on the planet opportunity. Nah. Well, so I mean, we could do either of those, I suppose. But does anyone have any thoughts on what this surprising opportunity that would result from?
He actually like wings Cole and manages to separate him from the
Well, maybe
rest of the
knocks him
pirates.
unconscious. Like
Yeah.
he knocks him back and he
Yeah.
knocks himself out, so he's alive but unconscious.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
But that was perfect. That was
Yeah.
great.
He is so startled that little guy that he thought was just running away pops back up. Pew pew pew.
Yep.
All right. So I unless anyone else wants to, I finished in control last time, and so I'm going to try to take decisive action.
Okay.
Okay.
Where is that? Oh, moves. That's right. So,
Yep.
so decisive action is when you
Compared to
seize
the
the
progress.
objective. We believe we've got you know we believe that we've got what we need out of this, and so I'm going to try to get the pirates to just the rest of the remaining pirates to flee. All right, so I'm rolling with the progress that we've got of here, which is 8. So let's see, conclude. Oh, there we go. Challenge is the button for that. No, it's not. Conclude. There we
Take
go.
decisive.
All right, yeah, there we go.
Strong hit.
Well, yeah, so strong hit. Which means that on a strong hit we prevail. I take +1 momentum. If any objectives remain and the fight continues, you are in control. But I think that in this case, what it is that the remaining pirates run away, presumably to retreat back to their own ship. But we are no longer in danger. We have the unconscious Cole and the container that seemed likely to be the one we cared about.
Yeah, but I think we need to open it up and make sure.
Well, yeah, for sure. And I think maybe we do an oracle to decide, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so but the pirates are running though. So
Yeah.
okay, great.
Yay.
Should we mark progress on the?
Well,
No, because we've already.
yeah, I think
yeah.
we sort of made that one already. So I think in this case,
Yeah.
what we would, because where we're at right now, we want to confirm that we got the thing. If so, I think that would be one. But then
Yeah.
the next question is, are we just going to abandon the Buccaneer, or are we going to try to bring that back? Did it have other crew? Do we even know?
Yeah.
I think we'll have to check.
Yep.
Yeah, let's do some oracles on the status of the Buccaneer, and maybe there's
Okay.
other things that need
Yeah.
doing here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so first of all, I think we've already used the word likely to say, is this container we've got the one with the artifact in it?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's say we're saying the answer is likely yes, but we're rolling it. Do we have we got the artifact? No.
No.
Oh.
Okay. So we open up the container that you had spotted, Space Rat, and that's not it.
It's
And-
got like rocks in it.
Yeah, it's fancy geological samples, and then we kind of all look over
Actually-
to Cole, who's unconscious.
or no, it has random, it has basically random junk. So it's like, was he trying to pull a double cross?
All right, I am going to go over to Cole.
So here's what I realized we had a progress track also for exploring the ship, which was find Cole and the artifact. So I'm going to mark progress on there for we found Cole, but we're
Yeah, but
still
we
looking
still
for the
don't know the
artifact.
artifact.
So we've got 6 out of 10 on that track.
So I would like
ignore that
to-
roll. That's
I would like to do two things here. I would like to use my medical skill to revive Cole, and try to and in the process of that, try to get him to tell me.
Yeah. What we can also
Where
do
the
is explore a
artifact is.
waypoint, because this cargo hold
Yeah.
is one of the waypoints.
Yeah, that's true. So
Correct.
let's.
Yeah.
Well, somebody
We
else
do
can do
both.
that, but I want to.
Yeah, so let's you do your move first to see if you can
Okay.
bring him back, and then maybe we say while you're doing that, the rest of us are doing the explorer waypoint.
Yeah. So I'm going to use the. Do I use the heal move?
I believe that would make sense
Okay.
to me.
All right. This is a trained treatment for a companion, I guess. And that is a weak hit. So the recovery costs extra time or resources, either lose momentum or sacrifice resources. I'm going to lose momentum. That
Okay.
takes me back to my +2.
Okay. I think probably the way that works in the fiction is it just takes a while.
Yeah.
You know,
So
um,
I am working on Cole for the time being.
Okay, but
Yeah.
it seems likely though that you're going to be able to bring him up. It's just he's slow to recover.
Right.
But in the meantime, our explorer waypoint is a wits roll, so maybe it makes sense to say, okay, Space Rat, that wasn't it. So do we think it's still here? Let's check around.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Strong hit.
Strong hit. So with a strong hit, you choose one between find an opportunity, which envision a favorable insight, situation, resource, or encounter, then take +2 momentum, or gain progress on our expedition. So I would think in this context, gain progress would be finding our artifact. Then the other opportunity would be something else. So you could choose between, say, we find the thing we're looking for, or we find something else cool, and we're still looking for the other thing.
I wish it was with a match.
Well.
But yeah, I think we find find the artifact.
Okay, it's in a much less, a much sort of more boring looking container or something like that.
Well, it's like, all right, maybe I'm thinking, I'm looking at that. It's like, okay, so we know what size, approximately what size it is.
Maybe you found a cargo manifest.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so that might make sense in that you looked up the manifest and found the one that looked like, yeah, that seems funny. Let's check that one.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so that makes our expedition progress tracker of find coal and the artifact now at 9 out of 10. So do we want to try to roll that one now?
Yes, let's roll that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
All right, so we got a strong hit for that, which means that we've got coal, we've got the artifact. That's what we set out to do specifically with the ship. But now the open question is,
I think
can we
we're-
recover the ship?
yeah.
And are there other crew? Some of those sorts of things. Because
I
it's going
would
to go
argue
into the
that-
gravity well otherwise.
Yeah, I think I would argue that we don't have the resources to fight back an entire ship full of pirates.
Well, so
And,
bear in mind that the progress track we had was for a boarding party.
Okay.
Basically,
So
we
that
fought
implies
all
all
the
of the pirates that were aboard this ship were what we were dealing with.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
if we've sent them fleeing, they might have reinforcements on their ship, and we could do an oracle for that. But otherwise, we fought and repelled all of the pirates that were already on the ship.
Okay. All right. Well-
actually, can I would like to do a gather information roll to see if I can figure out the status of the ship. Like,
Yeah, no, that's great.
how much,
Yeah,
how
absolutely.
broken is it?
No, that's a very good idea. Like,
Yeah.
is this a ship that can be piloted out of its current danger?
Okay. Weak hits.
Okay.
New insight, but complicates your quest. Envision what you discover.
All right, so you get your +1 momentum, but also so I imagine that there could be well, so here, what were we trying to determine in this case? It was
Basically, how damaged is the ship?
so maybe what we discover is that it theoretically could be, but not currently. Like it would
Yeah.
take repair.
Okay, so looks like the Adon drive is shot. I could get power to the thrusters to stabilize its orbit, but it's not going to be quick or easy.
So here's a question that I think we might do an oracle for. Because of the nature of the way ships work in this setting, kind of like how I'm the pilot for our ship, theoretically, this could be a ship that's really just coal, right? Like, but was it? Are there other crew, and what's their status right now? So maybe we want to do an oracle to determine
Yeah.
those things.
Yeah, like a 50-50 to say, are there other crew or they're not?
Okay. Okay, so are there other crew members aboard the Buccaneer? Is the roll? I clicked the wrong thing. No, there's not any other crew. Well, that's simpler.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about saving other people because, like, if we had to abandon the Buccaneer, um, maybe the additional complication too, beyond just needing to repair the ship, is that we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
It's
where is ampersand?
Oh yeah, we still have to. He ran off into the ship somewhere.
like,
Oh, we don't hear you, Jason.
I was gonna say, since it was only piloted by Cole, that it might be a smaller ship, and we
Yeah.
potentially could tug it away from the gravity.
Well,
well.
we could certainly try. I think that would be some roles involved, but that's certainly one way we could approach it. But so knowing that there's no other crew to worry about is, like that way, if we did need to abandon it, then that,
Yeah.
we could do
could
that.
get a, get some good.
All right.
Get
Well,
some good
so
salvage from
here,
this.
actually, I'm gonna pull us back just a little bit because, at the risk of making things too complicated, we did establish already that we've got some strange distortion to the gravity well here because this artifact is weird. So if you're gathering information of can the ship be piloted out has a complication, what if that complication is related to the artifact?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So it's like,
Like,
Yeah.
what if the complication is, we can't save the, like, it's simple. We could at least deal with that. Is that like, to repair the, change to the gravity well chart, we would need to destroy the artifact, maybe. Or maybe that's too complicated. Maybe just
Yeah.
it would be a, as
There-
long as the artifact is aboard a ship, that ship can't get out of the orbit. Like it locks it in somehow.
Well, there is an anomaly effect oracle.
Okay, yeah.
Alters or reshapes non-living matter.
Okay. Well, so so we could still have it do that, but I guess I think we need to establish, because we started off already in our fiction that something changed the way that the gravity well is working, right? And we think it's related to this artifact. So I think we need to kind of resolve what that means. And it could do this other thing too.
okay, I have an idea. Unless basically when you're with this thing, if you are leaving a gravity well, like, with Eidolon drive, unless you hit it perfectly, it will grab onto the gravity well and pull you towards it, basically, and possibly damaging the ship.
But like, maybe it does that in a way that is beyond what it would seem like Newtonian physics should do. And maybe that's why the gravity well seems to be in a different spot, is because this ship trying to jump away from it ended up
Pulled it
literally
close.
pulling the whole star out of its previous position.
Yeah.
And that's what blew out the Eidolon drive because it
Yeah.
was pulling too much mass.
Yeah. So I think that seems like it could be fun, which means we can't really, or it would be probably really dangerous to try to fix it. But at the same time, the question of what does that mean for us trying to leave with it now? Is there a way to prevent it from doing that? Now, realizing that this waypoint is like a ways, like he's been traveling already. So this would need to be something that at least was, maybe it got worse each time, but it was not, couldn't have been doing this all along.
Or maybe,
Right.
well, maybe he was basically previous jumps he was being further from the standard point because he knew, hey, his ship is marked.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I
it's
think
got-
if we decide what it is, I suspect that now that Giles is waking Cole up, he can be telling us this
Yeah.
story, right?
Yeah.
Because now that he's depending on us for his survival,
yeah.
do we want to do an oracle to say, like, are the pirates actually just bugging out? Are they leaving? What do you think? Or do we want to just say we think that is happening? They're leaving. Leaving without causing us any additional problem.
I would say maybe they bug out just because, you know,
I mean,
this
that's kind of
Cole, yeah, because Cole kind of was like, "Oh man, this is easy. They can trust me with this thing."
yeah. I think they just like this isn't worth it anymore. Like I'm reminded of there's a Clone Wars episode where Hondo, who's a pirate, just decides to have a retreat by saying, "This is no longer profitable." But yeah, so okay, so the pirates are leaving. I think maybe at some point we hear their ship detach and zoom away.
Yeah.
What I was thinking with the anomaly is that because let's say the gravity well anomaly happened when he was trying to either jump away from the waypoint or past the waypoint, that maybe we would have to completely shut down the ship, like make the ship completely cold and move the artifact to our ship, and then we could potentially tug the Buccaneer out of here or get another shot of trying to get out of the gravity well.
Oh yeah, okay. I have an idea for that, like just like an additional detail with that. But I think what happened is that over time, as it was aboard the ship, it started to resonate with the same frequency of the Eidolon drive. And so the more it was resonating with the Eidolon drive, the more of an effect it had until it happened this time where it literally pulled a star out of its orbit and busted the ship. And so the issue right now is that it is resonating in harmony with the Buccaneer's Eidolon drive. And it is sort of locked in place. What if it's even a case where, like, we find it, but we can't move it because
Or
it's like somehow
we can only
locked in.
move it within a certain radius of the drive, and when we try to bring it on the ship, it's like choo!
Yeah, like it's Thor's hammering us when we try to move it out of this certain bubble around the Eidolon drive. And so, but maybe shutting down the Eidolon drive would work, but then the risk is the longer we have it aboard our ship, the more it's going to start to do that to our ship. Does that I kind of like that. Does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So perhaps we have Cole explaining that to us, that his plan was, maybe that was actually his plan all along, is that he wasn't necessarily originally going to do a pirate thing, but it occurred to him when he started seeing what this thing could do, that that's something that pirates might like, and that he's going to need someone to rescue him anyway. So he called some of his people that he knows on pirate chat boards. I don't know actually how he would do that given our communication setup, but maybe he was all along planning to sell it to pirates. But
well, I mean, it could be
now knowing what the deal is.
Maybe it could be the herald that he sent the message on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
had a
so
pirate
maybe
connection.
Okay, but maybe what that means is though that in order to recover the artifact, we have to shut down the Buccaneer to the point that it will not be possible to rescue it from its decaying orbit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the alternative would be if we were able to eject the artifact, we could recover the ship, but maybe we don't care that much about the ship.
Yeah, because let's say if we shut it down completely, starting it back up would mean it would just start resonating again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like,
I think the concern is if we bring it on our ship, it'll start resonating with our drive, but maybe it would take longer than it will take to get us back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like, we learned from Cole that it took, basically, we have just enough leeway to get back to even tide.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So I think if I like that, and I also like that it gives us kind of a clear path forward from here, which is to say, if we're all agreed, we were sent to recover the artifact, not the Buccaneer necessarily. And given that the Buccaneer belongs to a guy who was going to try to sell this artifact to pirates, maybe we're not so worried about losing his ship.
Yeah.
And then over there in the corner, Cole says, "Hey!" And it's like, "Shut up, you."
It, you can see like when we make the decision to sacrifice a Buccaneer, you can just see the pain on
Yeah.
on Space Rat's face because this is good salvage, though.
Well, I think
Well,
we
you
can
can always
certainly
come
take,
back.
and
I know,
and
but-
maybe we have enough time to just take like a few bits and pieces from from the ship, but not enough to do like full cargo transfer. Okay, so is everyone happy with that idea?
Yeah.
Then that so we shut down the Buccaneers drive, which allows us to bring the artifact into our ship, but knowing that means that it will not be able to be piloted out of its current decaying orbit. So if that's the case, then I would say we can mark progress one more time for our vow. Does that sound right to everyone?
Yep.
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 Okay, that puts us at 8 out of 10, and so we could potentially just try to conclude it now and hand wave it. But I think what maybe makes more sense is that we say, now that we've got it, we're setting a course back, and once we arrive there, that will allow us to mark progress once more, which will have us 10 instead of 8.
Yeah.
But here's a question: how do you guys feel about the idea that? Do we think we need a face danger roll to try jumping with the artifact on board? Or do we think that since we just brought it on board, there's time before it would be dangerous?
I think since we just brought it on board, we
Okay.
have time.
That lets us go ahead and, so we'll just do
Yeah.
the set
Yeah.
a course move then.
Yep.
Okay. Where is my set a course move? There we go. All right. We're gonna set a course. Rolling with supply. One of the other things that we should do is, because we did take 1 point of damage to it, we should try to repair that once we arrive. But maybe we could do that when we're back.
Actually, maybe like you said, get just a little bit stuff.
Well, I mean, our integrity is at 4 instead of 5.
Right.
Well, I mean, like basically getting just enough salvage from the ship to.
We can't increase
Well-
our supply above +5.
Yeah. So that I'm
Okay.
talking
Yeah.
about a different thing.
Yeah.
We're rolling. So I'm complicating it by talking about two things at once. I'm going to set a course to take us back to Eventide,
Okay.
Right.
and that's rolling with supply. A miss. Oh shit.
Oh,
Okay. On a miss, you are waylaid by a significant threat and must pay the price. Okay. Well, so let's look at
See
our
what
pay
happens.
the price roll. Pay the price
This
oracle.
article.
You are delayed or put at a disadvantage. Maybe the thing is happening faster to our drive than we expected.
Well, you
Yeah.
left the ship running hot, so it was still on, so it had a chance.
Like it started resonating. Like
As soon as it arrived.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that doesn't necessarily mean that we're dead in the water, though. It just means that like it's happening faster. So maybe this does just mean we need to do face danger roll to try to, or maybe if we have our brainy types, try to figure out how to shield it from our drive.
Yeah.
I will
that
make
would-
I will make a gather information roll to see what kind of help I can give to that.
Oh,
Um,
actually, when you gather information or resupply by scavenging a wreck, ruin, or abandoned site, add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. That's
Okay,
what
but
I have.
we're not resupplying though.
Well, gather information.
Oh, okay, gather information, sure.
So
Okay, yeah, so that makes sense. Yeah, you can do that to have studied the effect that it had on the other drive.
yeah.
Okay, so
okay.
do the rolls
So
that you're going to do.
1 strong hit with a
Oh,
match.
strong hit with a match. Okay. Um, maybe what that means is that like it's an extra opportunity. So maybe what you discover is that you are able to pull together a little contraption that actually can just relatively easily turn the effect on and off.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
Or maybe transfer the effect to a mini, because you're already working on an FTL drive, right? You cobble together some
Actually,
little thing, and
Mm-hmm.
you transfer it to another
maybe
device.
maybe the opportunity that comes from the match
Mm-hmm.
is to is like I can make it not have a problem for us,
Mm-hmm.
and I can integrate something into the design of my device.
Yeah, I think so, and I think it also makes sense that you could make a discovery.
Maybe
You don't need
maybe
to roll the make a discovery oracle. What it just means is that you go to your legacies, your discovery
and
legacies.
mark progress.
Yeah, and technically all of us get to. What you are marking is two ticks. We all get to. Um, and
Under what?
Under
so
discoveries.
legacies, discoveries.
Okay.
Oh.
But we would need 4 ticks to get experience though. So.
Okay.
Okay, so and then I think once you figure that out, I think that means that our miss on set of course just said that once we resolve that delay, we're good. So we don't have to roll again. We may push on safely to our destination. Okay, so I think we come on in towards Eventide, get in contact with May, and say, we've got Cole and the artifact, and explain the whole situation.
Yeah.
And so I think we mark progress again now that we've returned them. And so we're at 10, and let's try to fulfill our vow. You made the vow, right, Giles? So you should click the roll.
Okay.
Fulfill a vow.
And it's a strong hit with a
With a
match.
match. Okay.
Nice.
So let's see. On a strong hit, mark a reward on your quest's legacy track per the vow's rank. So troublesome is 1 tick, dangerous is 2 ticks. That's what we did. So and then and we all get to do that. So on that same legacies page, but on quests, we can all mark 2 ticks. And then I don't think it specifies here anything about a match, but maybe
Well, there are articles for opportunities, right?
yes, there is. So, for example, planet side opportunity might make sense. There,
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see
Yeah.
what that table looks like.
yeah. But it also maybe makes sense given that what we brought back is that
There's also
we could try to have it tie into like what we just
yeah.
did here. Maybe, because I was just going to say like, oh, he's willing to rat on all of the rest of the pirates. But the thing is like, as we established here, like there's no cops that we're telling, it's not like,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there would be bounty hunters.
Could just be, for example, that maybe we just get get an extra reward of some kind, or we could just do the planet side oracle and opportunity.
Well,
Yeah, I'm going to run the roll of planet side oracle and see what
Okay.
happens. Evidence that others have passed this way. Okay, so the when we deliver the object, the artifact, it interacts with Eidolon drives. We know that, right?
Yeah.
And in the process of analyzing it before we turn it over, we find that it contains a record of the Eidolon drives that have carried it all the way back to its original position.
Oh, yeah.
And so what it reveals is the location in
Oh, yeah.
it reveals a location in the Hollow Arch sector of a
Like a vault.
some kind of vault or dig site or a place where this
Something.
thing came from.
Yeah.
Something, and I think that we would be interested in someplace. We would be interested in it basically has a map.
Yeah.
we
Well,
could
and
use to
here's
go.
the thing too, that just we kind of stumbled into this being true about it. But this thing took a relatively ordinary freighter with a relatively standard Eidolon drive and pulled a star out of its orbit. Like, even if it busted the ship, that's like a hell of a thing to be able to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
this-
we are turning that. Yeah, and
Yeah,
so
but-
there's a great deal of promise in the
Yeah.
place where this thing came from.
Right. But it's also kind of just a little bit of a question of like, oh, we've just discovered an extremely powerful, potentially very valuable, also potentially very dangerous. And I mean, I don't know that, like, it almost seems like this seems like scary enough that, you know what, maybe we don't need to fly around with it on our ship, but
Yeah, no, we
Yeah,
definitely
no, no,
we
no,
turn
no.
it over. We swore a vow to bring it back, and so we will.
Yes, we bring it back. Here you go.
Yeah. But yeah, so maybe just I like that idea of a lead on some potential really
Yeah.
cool artifact site.
Yeah. And I'll say, yeah, if you do decide to carry on a ship, make sure to have this specific configuration on the field so it doesn't destroy the ship.
Well, the other thing that we need to do is start sending out the word that the coordinates for that waypoint are changed now.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Yes.
There's probably a system for that.
Yeah, well, in particular, the two, like, I think are eventide one end of that path, and then the main, planet that's on the other end of that path are the two primary locations. Like, anyone taking that path would be stopping at one place or the other.
Right.
So those are the places where
Yeah,
it
by
needs to be.
definition. Right.
Yeah. Okay, so great. So I think that probably is a good place to stop. We fulfilled our vow, mostly successfully. Discovered a cool, weird, ancient artifact of some kind. Brought a shady guy to justice. Fought some pirates. It seems pretty good to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
Space
right.
Rat had an opportunity to be a big dang hero.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice work. Okay, so I think that'll do it for this time. Thank you, everyone, for listening and or watching. I think we're going to be talking amongst our group about what happens next week, but it'll be something. So in the meantime, we'll see you next week for more adventure on so many levels.
So many levels.